stormy at all, and the temperatures are going to be between 5 and 7 degrees Celsius.
Ydy, mae'n teimlo'n ddigon mwy yn y dyddiad y gwir. Wyt ti'n edrych ymlaen at y ffair? Braf bod nôl ma?
Stefan Griffiths, the S4C weatherman. Obviously looking forward to spending the next 2 days here at the Winter Ffair.
Diolch i ti, Steph. Yn y neuadd.
Nia just mentioning she'll be visiting the food hall in a few moments, but we'll kick off proceedings. Obviously the Winter Fair started earlier this morning, but we're going to head straight for the cattle ring, and we'll join Gerald.
Yes, good morning, and our first visit to the cattle ring for the 21 show, and also in doing so it'll be our first look at the heifer judge, who has the honours of judging all the heifers right throughout the show of all breeds, and his name is Mr. Chris Penny from Llandysil, Montgomery, Powys. Chris is a well-known breeder of Pedigree Limousine and is the owner of the Sarkley herd of limousines, but also a keen producer of show cattle by crossing and producing purebreds, and he himself had tremendous success back here in 2014 in winning the overall championship here with his limousine, Pedigree Limousine heifer, Sarkley Lanoma, and she had a successful winning as well at other shows. So Chris is no stranger to the show ring. I personally would describe him as being a show man. Every animal that I would think that he will pick to come forward and go forward to the overall championship would be a very correct animal. It'll be interesting to see that how much emphasis he puts on correctness and walking ability and that, and over, say, the meat side of it. So we'll see as time will tell, and he starts off perhaps with something that's a little bit alien to himself in the native cattle of Wales in the Welsh Blacks, and he hasn't got a major task in front of him because only 2 animals, but still you have to examine every animal thoroughly and correctly to see what he assesses he will think will stand a good chance in the overall championship later on. So we'll see where he goes. Chris farms in partnership with his parents and his wife. He has judged many times in limousines in the Royal Balmoral and the Highland Show, Agri Expo in Carlisle, so as I stated earlier, he is no stranger to the show ring. Perhaps the downside of the 21, perhaps as we alluded to before, a lot of people have just got out of it a little bit, and maybe the numbers this year will be perhaps a little bit less than what they have. We do see at this, it was actually 4 heifers entered in this class and only 2 have arrived, so the pandemic has caused a few issues along the way, and let's hope that everybody will try their best to represent what they have entered right throughout the show. So as I stated, he hasn't a difficult task, but he has arrived as his decision, and his decision goes to number 3, the first heifer, and she is weighing 584 kilos and is exhibited Mr. Ben Reynolds. That's a good start to the day for Ben Reynolds. And Trefichan ar da Felen the 6th.
Mae sawl ffordd o wylio'r ffair eia ar S4C, rhwng 10 ag 1 a rhwng 2 a 4
Now then, we're here between 10 and 1 this morning and 2 and 5 o'clock, and you can follow us on Freeview, Virgin Media and Freesat as well as Sky. And we're also broadcasting on the internet. It's s4c.cymru/ffair-eaf.
Offers an English language option. Yn syml iawn lle bynnag ydych chi, mi fedrwch chi wylio'r ffair eia.
Wel, mae'r gystadlu'n parhau yma yn y shed foch.
Well, we've been in the cattle ring. Let's have our first visit to the pig shed. And it's back to Gerald.
Yes, and again our first look at exhibitors of pigs that will be on show, and we see that there's significant numbers entered in a lot of classes, and I hope that they all do turn up. And there's Mr. Arwin Morgan, local butcher from Builth, And Brecon here, a local man living just opposite the showground in Birth, giving his opinion on the pigs, and he will be a prospective purchaser, I'm sure, of pigs later on to go to his butcher shop. And there we have our first look at Mr. Glyn Davis from Denby, who is judging the best single modern purebred pork pig, weighing between 55 and 70 kilos. Maybe I don't know a lot about the cattle and the sheep, but my knowledge on pigs is not great, but I will try and help you along. No, but they all look exceptional good animals with very, very good conformation. And as I said, purebred, we have all different breeds in this particular class. And as you notice, there's a lot of Petrine blood that comes into the pigs now then, and we can see just in shot there a lot of animals with like a blue fleck or blue patches within them, and these are purebred peaches, as you can see, in exceptional shape. The quality of the animal obviously is not only judged on shape, and like the cattle and the lambs, it's also judged on the loin and fleshing ability right throughout the animal. So even though to the eye perhaps the animal with the biggest back end will not necessarily be the best animal. So Mr. Glyn Davis is going over these animals thoroughly. Most of the pig assessment is done by visual assessment only. He can hardly put his hand on these animals like in lambs and in the cattle section. So there'll be top line, underline, and then he will be obviously taking into consideration width right throughout. And several people have two animals in this class, but obviously, as I said, they are judged on an individual basis. Some pigs are more behaved than, better behaved I should say, than others, and some people are quite happy to parade them around, and other people then like to keep them in the cages.
We ride orders now.
We can see a lot of animals of the Welsh orientated, pure Welsh, Petrine. Mr. Glyn Davis is casting his eye once again over and will soon arrive at his decision. Give credit to these show people. These animals are presented at the top of the game, and there you go, Mr. Davis has made his decision, and it's number 640. Mr. and Mrs. HD and E.M. Roberts with the Welsh, so that's a good start for the native breed. There we go, they take second place as well, so a good start for the Roberts family in the pig show. Hopefully we'll come back later on and see if they'll get thrown forward into the overall championship later on.
Yn y sengle I moch cyfoes pyr. A'r wobr gynta yn mynd I Lithaen I Hugh ac Ela Roberts. Diolch nôl yn y man am y gystadleuaeth nesaf.
Noddir y rhaglen hon gan Coleg Glyn Llifon, rhan o grŵp Llandrillo Menai. Noddir y rhaglen hon gan Coleg Glyn Llifon, rhan o grŵp Llandriso Menai.
Mae'n ofnadwy o braf bod yn ôl. Da ni wedi bod heb y llwyfan yma, heb y ffenast siop yma. Felly mae hyn rwan yn gam ymlaen.
Gweld yr gwynebau ni ddim wedi gweld nawr ys 2 flynedd, a falle bod rhaid i colli bwysau, a rai eraill wedi rhoi bwysau ymlaen. Ond gweithio byddai'n nabod nhw pan byddai'n gweld nhw.
Fwy na dim, cwrdd y pobl, cyfeillgarwch, edrych ar stoc, ac wrth gwrs defnyddio'r carden credit gyda'r siopa a Nadolig.
Y beth dwi'n edrych ymlaen ato fwyaf yn y ffairi yma ydy cael agor y drysau yma bore dydd Llun.
Mae'r stondinau yn llawn, mae'r adeiladau dobyw yn llawn, mae neuaddfwyd yn llawn o bobl, a mae'r haul yn disglair, dyn ni'n barod i fynd, a'n pawb yn edrych ymlaen i'r ffaria, mae'r Nadolig yn dechrau yma.
Ydy, mae'r Nadolig...
Well, a few of the people who visited the Royal Welsh shows saying how good it is to be back here at the showground. In the background you can see the food hall, the stalls are all open. It's full already, but of course there are restrictions. There is a one-way system within the food hall, and by the way, if you are coming here, then the Royal Welsh Agricultural Society are asking everybody to wear a face mask if they are within the buildings here at the showground.
O, ni, a mae mor braf I fod nôl ma yn y ffair ar ôl colli blwyddyn.
Ydy. A fel un sydd wedi byw a bod yn y maes arlwyo, mae lle fel hyn mor bwysig i'r diwydiant yn dydi?
And it's Hazel Thomas who's being interviewed by Nia at the moment. And she's explaining that this food hall at the Royal Welsh is a shop window to all the people who are producing food and drink here within Wales. As you can see, the alleyways are wider than they would be normally. And there is a one-way system within the food hall this year.
Wel, dwi wedi cyfeirio at un neu ddoi yn benodol, achos mae'n bwysig I wneud hynny, dwi'n meddwl, yn sgil y ffaith bod nhw wedi methu gwerthu tipyn.
Hazel is mentioning that she's been within the food hall, and a lot of the food producers who have new products that they're showing here at the Royal Welsh, one of those companies being Welsh Brew. And they have a new produce this year that's been developed in cooperation with Farmers Bee Cymru, which is a healthy tea. And they're also recyclable, the tea bags being recyclable as well.
Sydd yn cynhyrchu llaeth a menyn a cynnyrch olaeth organig, ac wrth gwrs maen nhw...
Another company who are here at the food hall is a company called Calon Wen, who produce Welsh cheese. And of course, if you are there, you can sample the produce as well.
Mae'r cynghori'n parhau felly.
O, chi ffili methu ydych chi, chybod, ie. So, beth sydd wedi syni fi hefyd, Nia, yw faint o ferched sydd hefyd wedi mentro mewn I gynhyrchu cynnyrch newydd, a mae yna ddwy...
And Hazel's also mentioning the fact that a lot of companies have been run and set up by a lot of women who are coming here for the first time as well.
Dyna beth oedd y siop ddillad, nath ysbrydoli Dylan Thomas I gynnwys y siop ddillad yn dy Milkwood. Felly mae yna stori fe chyfri, ond dwi'n rico gweld merched yn mentro mewn. Mae yna gwmni arall sy'n distyllu, sef Coles Distillery o Llandarog, a mae nhw...
Another company who are here for the first time at the Royal Welsh is the Coles Distillery Company. And as you can see, a variety of products there.
Cwmni hyn, ni a mwy na unrhyw beth arall, maen nhw'n prynu'r molasses a'r gwenith a'r barlus mewn a gwneud...
And they buy the molasses, the barley,
yn trad carbon ni, carbon footprint, maen nhw wedi lleihau hynny, achos maen nhw'n gwneud y cyfan ar y lleoliad. So maen nhw'n da arall.
They produce all the barley and whatever locally.
Hufen Iâ o Mountain View y fferm os blynyddoedd. Merch yr enw Lauren wedi bod yn gweithio gyda'n edrych ar ôl y plant. Mae Lauren wedi prynu'r busnes a cadw fe i fynd.
Ardderchog.
Oh, mae'n wych.
Felly be nawr ni? Paned o de ta Hufen Iâ?
Hufen Iâ a paned o de.
From what I understand with Nia, she will have like a Christmas cabin within the food hall, and we will be seeing more produce from that particular area later on. Don't forget, you can keep in touch with everything going on at the Winter Ffair this year on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. It's s4c.cymru/Ffair. Right, let's go to the horse ring for the first time this morning, and we'll join Rachel Thomas. Good morning, Rachel.
Morning, Gareth. And we're coming up to the horse ring. And this is the first class of the show, colours. So we're looking at foals all in together with these. Obviously your riding type, traditional, native type.
Ponies wedi plethu a traditionals. So na, mae'n mynd i fod job caled i'r judge. Yn yr adran yma, y beirniad.
And
dyna'r un cynta allan.
So we've had the initial pull here. Oh.
Willow's Way and Miss Dior, the berchnogaeth Mrs Hilary Waterhouse.
And I'll tell you a little bit about our judge today. We've got Mrs Lisa Chambers, quite local, from Bilthwells, so she hasn't had to come far this morning. The Chambers show colours themselves. Sophia, Lisa's daughter, has been successful at Hoys and the Royal International with their own colours. Originally from Rhaeadr, she's developed her passion as a young child, and one of her first ponies was actually a coloured pony. So let's suffice to say colours are a passion. I mean, this filly, I think, out in front of us, number 761 for you, those of you home that haven't got catalogues. And this is Mrs Hilary Waterhouse's, the Willow Way stud, Willow's Way Miss Dior.
Mae wedi watcha nhw mynd reit round. Chos yn aml bod gyffili pallu dod lawr am y camera.
So Lisa, her likes would be she'd look for limbs, she likes a good shoulder and a good depth of girth. Obviously she's looking for something that she feels could be a future ridden prospect, as obviously their passion is the ridden game. And I believe that the last Royal Welsh show, which was 2019, the Chambers family produced the champion there. It was Roquefort Papillon from my memory. I remember because I think I was a judge on that day. Yeah, I was. And
Miss Chris Osborne.
They've got several colours, both plaited, and they've got some traditionals as well. So an inexperienced judge here today.
Yeah. A hwnna'n neis ar y go-round i ddechrau bant, so wedi heiddi cael ei dyn i lan yna.
Can't quite see the number. I think this is 762 in front of us now. Another one from the Willow's Way stud. Willow's Way Hearts Affair.
Kimiko Hearts on Fire.
By Kimiko Hearts on Fire. So these guys have come down all the way from the Willow's Way stud up in Cumbria. So quite a fair way to travel. But with so little on, people just glad to be back out. Certainly the shows I've been to this year have been really great in numbers. Obviously we've not been as lucky in Wales with just about everything being cancelled. So I've been looking at the catalogues. We've had good entries, massive entries later on in the Section A's. So we're going to come back to this later. Obviously, we're just showing you the initial stages of judging there, and hopefully we're going to be able to come back with a result.
Willow's Way, Hearts of Fire.
Nice mixed class here. Not too busy at the horse ring quite yet. So we're going to join the coloured horses later and hope we'll have a result for you of the foal class.
Thanks, Rachel. We'll be back shortly. In the meantime, to the sheep ring for the first time this morning. I think it's the pure continental breed section and a pair of Dutch Texel lambs, Gerald.
Yes, indeed. These particular lambs usually feature quite strongly in the later competitions, being the continental lambs. And Texel or Beltex have been to the fore many times before in the thing. And we have Mr. Adrian Roberts there talking to Mine. Adrian now lives down in Whitland, who was very involved in the meat industry many years ago. And we have a lineup there. We also have a first look at our judge, Mr. James Mulholland, Midtown, Great Orton, Carlisle. He's a butcher farmer who runs Mulholland Butchers. So obviously, being a butcher, he will be looking for meat, and obviously meat in the right places, so as he can sell within his farm shops. Mulholland has judged at the fair also, and he judged in 2014 when he awarded first prize to Mr. Chris Penny's Heifer, who is judging the females. So he is no stranger to judging here at the show. Obviously cattle last time, and it's sheep this time. Here we see a local producer there in shot there, Mr. Howell Williams from Llandysant, not too far away from myself, down in Llangadog. Himself has had numerous success here at the show, so he's hoping that this will be his year again. But it's all in the hands of Mr. Mulholland at the moment, because he's got to win this particular class before he'll be able to go forward to feature in the championships later on. These lambs are trimmed to perfection, as you can see, but it's up to Mr. Mulholland to assess what is under the perfection of trimming and that, and to assess what the carcass is like underneath. And we see have a strong contenders there in front of us, number 505 from the Hall family up in Carlisle, who also have featured very strongly in the Winter Ffair and other shows throughout the country. So they'll be hoping that they will come forward. And then we have another local producer there. This is Sarah Gibbons down there in Hay on Wye, which is not too far from down the road again. And they also have featured very strongly in the fair here before. And most of these producers actually will have more than one egg in their basket, and we will probably see these all again. They compete with the Texels and the Beltexes and the Blue Texels, so we will obviously see them competing in other classes. Mr. Mulholland, although there's only 5 pairs in this particular section, he will give every one the thorough examination, cast his expert eye over these lambs, and trying to assess which he think will be strong contenders, obviously, later in the show. And also he would probably like to think, well, what would I like to have on my slab or in my shop window to be able to sell. Tremendous work goes into these lambs in terms of these exhibitors can make these quite wild and sharp lambs stand there and hold their composure for the judge to cast his eye over. We will assess and move him around in the position which he thinks is the best. See Mr. Mulholland there obviously the back end is the back leg of the lamb, and leg of lamb is quite expensive in our butcher shops these days. The sheep industry in this country is doing very, very well at the moment. But also, as speaking as a farmer, we need it to do very well because everything else that we purchase has gone up in price. So the whole general trend of the farming industry at the moment, although even though, like I say, the livestock industry is going well, so is everything else has gone in price. So we hope that it will continue to go up. There we are, he's taken his initial draft. Whether that'll be his final assessment, we don't know, but at the moment it's standing in first place is the Hall family, and standing in second place is Mr. Howell Williams. Oh, there you go, he's made his decision. It is the Hall family from Carlisle with their pair of lambs, number 505. So we will obviously feature them later on in the competition. Pair of lambs, lovely matching lambs, and that's what you will have to consider as well. That it is a pair. There we are.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You've had a successful run so far this year already.
We've had a good season so far, yeah.
You won the Expo?
We won the Expo, yeah. And up at the Scottish on Saturday. So yeah, we've done well this time, thank you.
So in Scotland on Saturday and here on Sunday?
Yes.
That's what you call
Busy
commitment. Yes. Well, a successful start to the Welsh Fair now.
Thank you very much, thank you.
Congratulations, well done you.
Thank you.
Noddir y rhaglen hon gan Coleg Glyn Llifon, rhan o grŵp Santrillo Menai. Noddir y rhaglen hon gan Coleg Glyn Llifon, rhan o grŵp Santriso Menai.
Welcome back to the Royal Welsh Showground, and last night the Bilf Wells Male Voice Choir were part of a carol service here at the showground, and it's nice to see that the faithful have returned to the showground today. Well, as we heard earlier on, we usually see Nia wandering around the food hall during the Winter Ffair. Well, things have changed this year due to the COVID restrictions, of course. There is a one-way system within the food hall, hence the reason that Nia is in her own little Christmas cabin, and she's joined by Lliwan Griffith from the Aberfalls Distillery, who are situated in Abergwyn up on the North Wales coast, by not far from Llanfairfechan. And Lliwan is just saying as well that it's very good to be back here at the Royal Welsh Showground. It's not the first time, of course, for the company, the Aberfalls Distillery, to visit the Winter Ffair. They have been here before, and I suppose many people are familiar with the Aberfalls gin produce, which they have shown here at the Winter Ffair and the Royal Welsh Show in the past.
Ond hefyd, mae yna ganolfan ac o bellach, yn does? Oes, mae gennym ni ganolfan ymwelwyr.
And Lliwan is just mentioning the fact that they do by now have a visitor centre at the distillery up in Abergwyn, and they have tours of the facilities that they have there. And Nia's just mentioning that sometimes people buy the eye, as it were, because as you can see, they have a variety of different gins and different colours.
Because da chi'n methu neud lliw piws yn naturiol.
That particular produce that Lliwan is talking about, the purple one, you cannot produce a pink gin, apparently, in colour, at least. But those are liqueurs, beg your pardon, and they're not quite as strong as the gin. The violet liqueur and the salted toffee liqueur. The violet liqueur is a sweeter liqueur. And Lliwan's comparing that violet liqueur to Marmite. Either you like it or you don't. And by adding different mixtures, it can vary the taste as well.
Ar ôl siarad amdano cynnig. Efo dipyn o rew. Efo dipyn o rew, mae hefyd yn neis efo sydd afal. So mae'n neud rhyw fath o toffee apple. So mae hwnna really neis. Neu mewn coginio, dros hufen iâ, mewn crumble afal.
Obviously you can you can also use the liqueur in your cooking as well.
A gin di hein, yeah?
Gin, yeah, rei iawn.
Now these are the familiar products from Aberfalls Distillery. These are the three different gins. They have the Welsh Dry Gin, which is similar to a London Dry Gin. There's also yeah, Lliwan was comparing the Welsh Dry Gin to an antifreeze, especially on a morning like this, just to warm you up and get you going. There's also a rhubarb and ginger gin and an orange marmalade gin. And all three of them are 41%. And he is just asking Lliwan, as people visit the stall at the Winter Ffair, What is it that they want to know about the company? Obviously, they enjoy trying the samples.
Ond dwi'n meddwl mae hynna'n rhywbeth neis, cos di pobl ddim yn gallu trio nhw nacdi. Da ni'n gallu trio nhw yn y canolfan, ond os ydych chi'n mynd i rwla i brynu'r cynnyrch, da chi'n gallu trio.
And it is an opportunity to try the different flavoured gins, because when you go to a shop, obviously you don't get an opportunity to do that. They offer that kind of service as well at the visitor centre at the distillery in Abergwyn Gregin.
Datblygu yn does efo cwmnïau.
But they've also worked hand in hand with other Welsh businesses. Such as Sugar and Space and their Christmas pudding. They've also worked with Crust, the company Crust, based in Cardigan, the Aberfalls whiskey and salted caramel.
Whiskey and hwnna?
Yeah.
And there's also a whiskey marmalade, and they've also been working hand in hand with a wickedly Welsh chocolate company. The new product they have, of course, is a new whiskey, which, of course, Nia is going to taste before thanking Llywyn and wishing her a very Merry Christmas. Yeah, good health, and we'll go back to the cattle ring and rejoin Gerald.
Yes, back to the cattle ring, and we are now in Class 2, the Pedigree Limousine Heifer. So I would have thought that Mr. Chris Penny here, being a Pedigree Limousine breeder, would be in his own looking at these particular animals, though he hasn't got a great deal. And this class then was a lot more entered, as I alluded to before, but generally another reason then why this class isn't quite as strong as Mr. Di Thomas, who entered this class with a pure pedigree heifer, was fortunate enough to win the English Winter Ffair in Birmingham, and so that animal was actually sold in Birmingham, and a tremendous honour for Mr. Di Thomas from Gorscork up there in Ceredigion to achieve such a worthy while winning prize, and so therefore the numbers have been reduced again in this class. So Mr. Penny then has not a difficult job in assessing only 3, but it is very difficult in trying to pick a winner out of 3 such good animals.
Na, ond mae dal yn bwysig. Na, mae rhaid iddyn nhw still symud yn dda, ond na, bwyslais ar y cyrff.
Still, he will have to assess. This is a prime stock show. Perhaps out of his mind must go what he would like as a future cow, perhaps, or a breeding animal for his herd. But some of the animals, some of the females, will go on to breed from this particular show, because a lot of people think that a show female here will produce a future champion. So some farmers will like, or some breeders I should say, would like to own one of these animals to go on and produce a future champion in the show. And obviously with the Limousine, Pedigree Limousine, they can go on and produce a terminal sire like a bull for future siring of potential show animals. And as we stated, Mr. Penny himself won the prestigious event here in 2014 with a Pedigree Limousine Heifer, so he should know what he's looking for in this particular animal in front of him here.
I must say, Gerald, these cattle, looking at them, they're very well behaved when you think that they haven't probably been very, very far from the farm or whatever in shows in recent years.
That's a good point, Gareth. And yes, a lot of these animals would have been shown throughout the summer shows and that, so therefore there has been no summer show. So like you say, then these animals are probably the only time, and the first time and only time, that they will have been out and exhibited. So yes, and the razzmatazz of the colours and the other cattle and all the people that are around the show ring here, as we see, is a little bit off-putting then, but I can assure you all these professional showmen and farmers here will have spent hours and hours in handling and preparing these animals for this show. they leave no stone unturned, because I mean, you cannot fetch an unruly animal to this show with the magnitude of this and so many people around, and that's the animals are exceptionally well behaved, and they wouldn't even entertain bringing it here if it was a little bit flighty, let's say. See a significant difference there in the animals walking around the ring there, then in their walking abilities. The couple of the animals will be, say, throwing their legs perhaps a little bit different to what the other one is, and we'll see. This is what Mr. Penny is there for, to assess when animal walks correctly and shows itself off correctly when they are walking.
Gel, to my naked eye, looking at the three in the ring there, I can't help noticing that the first in line, number 8, seems to be far smaller in size than the one at the back, number 10.
Yes, you're quite right, Gareth. Actually, in this particular small class, and only 3 animals entered, there is no weight limit, or there is an actual weight limit. They have to be over something like 450 kilos, but no weight. But what we will see later in classes, with more animals entered in the class, they will put them in class. But anyway, we'll have to come back a little bit later and see who wins this class.
S4C.Cymru/Ffair ydi'r cyfeiriad holl bwysig os oes gennych chi deulu dramor sydd am fwynhau gwefr y Ffair.
Don't forget, we are broadcasting on S4C, of course, but we're also broadcasting on the internet. It's S4C.Cymru/Ffair. Right, let's return to the horse ring and rejoin Rachel Thomas.
Thanks, Gareth. We're back up now in the coloured class, and we've got Mrs. Lisa Chambers assessing this today. So we've still come back to the foal class for you. I'll try and get a number. Just obviously if you at home haven't got catalogues.
Traditional arc, Philip Leffy.
And we're hopefully going to be able to see the result of this class. So obviously I know the colours are really popular these days, and there's plenty of you coloured enthusiasts sitting at home. The classes I've judged this year, albeit all of them being across the bridge, have been really, really well filled. They're certainly gaining in popularity year on year, I find, and the level of production is getting better all the time. So we've got a good class there. About 11 or 12 have come forward out of a catalogued 22, so that's not a bad turnout. Yeah, so we're going to get a result for you. And looks like there's possibly a few more traditional natives than plattids in here at the minute. Obviously you're looking for the best of his breed, of his type, regardless whether it's traditional or platted. Personally, I suppose sometimes if you prefer a traditional or a native type, you know, you've got 2 animals equal. It comes down to your own personal opinion. If you're more of a person that likes the blood types, the hunter types, the riding horse, hack types, yes, you might go for a platted. But there's, like, in these now, just having a quick look, there's some really nice walkers in these traditional classes and the natives. I think it's really important from a judge's point of view, from what I've seen anyway. If you get a native or traditional that comes in and can really, really walk, you know, it really catches the judge's eye. I know that's the same with all animals, but often from my point of view, the natives and possibly the traditionals don't always have the quality of walk as their platted counterparts. So to get one that can really walk is a real bonus. And they're all extremely well behaved. So we got a result, and I believe, yeah, 7-6-1, and it's Willow's Way, Miss Dio, the original choice of Mrs. Lisa Chambers, and they've come all the way down from Cumbria. I think this interview possibly going to be in English, so I'll keep quiet for you to hear.
To get them ready for something like this.
Yeah, it is. She's been out once before. This is the second time out, but then you can't predict what they're going to do. Usually at home she goes 100 miles an hour, so, but yeah, really pleased with it.
Oh, well, lovely. Congratulations. A nice win.
Yeah.
And best of luck later on.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, just that interview there. So we're going to have a lap of honour now. We haven't seen too much of the class, which is a bit of a shame, but we'll come back later on to see the yearlings and hopefully you see a bit more of the actual judging and class in progress. So that's Hilary Waterhouse's Willows Way Miss Dio coloured foal winner today.
Thanks, Rachel. Right, let's return immediately to the cattle ring, and it's back to the Pedigree Limousine Heifers, which we saw earlier on, and the judge imminently will make a decision, I presume, Gerald?
Yes, I would think so. As I stated, even though there's only 3 animals, he has to be very, very thorough and correct in his decision.
Terfynol, dwi'n gweld rhyw newid mawr fan hyn nawr, yr heifer ogledd Lloegr, dwi'n meddwl sy'n mynd I fynd â hi, pethau rhif 8, o eiddo Mr Little Adon.
We have 3 pedigree heifers obviously in Vern, and they have different prefixes as all herds do, and we have Hattersall Rowena and Silverstone Roxanne and Ration Hall Penny, so quite extravagant names listed on these ladies. But it is interesting in the pedigree breeding section. Then they do run in alphabetical order. Then, so we see that all their names are beginning with R. So it tells me that every animal is born in the same year, and it runs right throughout all the pedigree sections. So anyway, there we are. We've arrived at a winner, and it is number 8, owned by Little and Donaldson, Messrs Little and Donaldsons. So we will see her later on.
Noddir y rhaglen hon gan Coleg Glyn Llifon, rhan o grŵp Santriso Menai. Noddir y rhaglen hon gan Coleg Glyn Llifon, rhan o grŵp Santriso Menai.
Welcome back to the Royal Welsh Showground here at Llanelwedd for this year's Winter Ffair. And just a quick reminder, if you are thinking of visiting the showground today, then you need to purchase the tickets beforehand. No tickets will be available at the gate, and you can purchase the tickets by visiting the Royal Welsh Agricultural Society's website. You'll also need to provide an NHS COVID pass or a negative lateral flow if you're 18 years or over. As you can see, it's quite busy in the food hall at the moment, and because of the restrictions, there is a one-way system within the food hall. Hence the reason why Nia is located in her own little Christmas cabin. And you can see the food hall in the background, and she's joined by Emma Morris from Trailhead Fine Foods. And they have a Get Jerky business. They produce a Welsh beef jerky.
Silverside, sy'n dod I fewn at ni, so wedyn mae gennym ni 8...
And they have 8 different flavours available. And they are, of course, for sale at the stall that they have here at the food hall. And once again, Emma is referring to the fact that people aren't sure whether they like beef jerky or not. And it's a bit like Marmite. There's that comparison once again. Either you like it or not. But there is an opportunity, of course, for people to come and visit the stall and have a little taste to see if they like it or not before purchasing the produce. And Emma's also referring to the fact that the one-way system within the food hall also helps insofar that people get to see all the stalls that are here located at the food hall. And Emma's just explaining that the beef jerky, there's no artificial colouring. It's high in protein, of course. And it's if you fancy a snack with your gin and tonic or your pint of beer, then it's also very useful for that as well. Yeah, just asking if it is popular, and Emma's saying that we've been very lucky over the course of the last year during the pandemic period. People have been buying online, they've been selling them in farm shops and garden centres. And jerky has become very popular within Wales during the last 2 years. Obviously, it's an American thing. People sometimes think that they don't like the texture, but it is different. And but it does soften once you put it in your mouth and you let the flavour come out. Nia at the moment is trying the teriyaki flavoured beef jerky. There's a bit of honey in there as well, and it melts in your mouth. It looks initially that it's something hard and solid, but once you put it in your mouth, it does melt, and the flavours come out then. And the main point Emma is making that they just want to encourage people to try it, and they're selling obviously a selection box which has all the flavours included in there, and obviously they're doing some good business in the food hall this morning.
So dwi'n licio black pepper a teriyaki dydyn gore, ond achos bod fi'n gweithio yn...
Emma's favourite flavours are the teriyaki and the black pepper.
Dwi'n bwyta fo os dwi'n mynd allan efo'r ci am dro.
And Emma's just saying she eats it. I'll eat it if I'm having a gin and tonic in the evening, or even if I'm taking the dog for a walk in the morning.
Diolch o galon, neis ti weld ti.
So that's Emma Morris from the Trailhead Fine Foods Company. Right, we've been to the sheep ring earlier on. Let's return there now and rejoin Gerald.
Yes, we're back in the sheep ring with the very popular breed that has become more popular, I should say, in recent times, in the blue Texel. We can see then the exceptional shape on these lambs. Right throughout, not quite as big and as powerful as the ordinary Texel. Perhaps a little bit bigger than the Beltex, so they're a middle of the road type of sheep, but obviously very attractive for their colour, and probably has a little bit of an influence on it as well. Then the colour of the wool, now the wool values in the sheep industry is one thing that certainly has gone down, not gone up, and therefore then the colour of the wool doesn't matter because the value of it is not very as much as a white wool. So we perhaps seen a bit of a trend towards the colour of the sheep rather than, say, for the shape of them, but still they are exceptional good shape, and these have featured very strongly, this breed now in recent times in the sheep industry, and this is a very strong class with 13 pairs entered. So Mr. Mulholland here certainly had his work cut out to examine and find his winner within this class. A little bit of, as Gareth alluded to before, weight of these particular lambs will vary quite significantly throughout, so perhaps Mr. Mulholland will favour perhaps a heavier lambs, perhaps, whether he'll favour the lighter weight lambs, but like the heavier weighted lambs should probably be a little bit more mature, hence it could be just a little bit older, or at a better bucket perhaps, whatever, but he has got quite a difference in that there might be lambs in here I haven't to hand, but there could be lambs in here at that high 30s, but there also could be lambs in here well high 40 kilos, and there would be a significant difference in the size of the joints and size of the lamb which he is actually feeling, so whether that will have an influence on him I don't know, but a lot of showmen then or butchers then would like to go for a stronger lamb, because if they were to have any intentions of purchasing this, then it will be purchased on a lump sum basis, and therefore they think they get more value for money in purchasing a heavier weighted lamb. But still, I'm sure that if the lamb is correct and has all the meat in the correct places, then he will certainly go for them.
Ond mae fe'n anrhydedd enfawr I feirniadu rhywbeth fel y ffair Iaf fan hyn yng Nghymru. Chywed, dyma un o'r ffeiri mae
see a lot of local producers, local to myself and local to the area here, strong Welsh connections. Dylan Davis, Howell Williams, both one from Gwynfer and one from Llandysant, not too far from myself. Strong showmen in their own right. I think we see a little bit of Emma favourite product on there, and she calls it the glitter, so this person is leaving no stone unturned, and Emma would certainly like to be here and commentating on that. Yes, Gareth? These showmen leave no trick and no stone unturned, and anything to catch the judge's eye.
Mae rhywbeth yn neis yn y ddafad dywyll yn does. A bryd yr iseldiroedd yw'r textile glas, yma? Bryd yr iseldiroedd. Ond ys mae di dod drosodd efo ni, mae'r amaethwyr lad yma wedi gwella'r bryd eto.
A little bit of a shop window for these breeds as well, this too. A little bit of a CV that they can put up in their selling their rams in the autumn ram sales that my bred lambs produced exceptional winners and carcass competition winners in the Royal Welsh Winter Ffair. So unfortunately we'll have time is running out on us on this class. We will have to come back a little bit later and see what pair Mr. Mulholland has selected.
Gawn ni hoi fach nawr o gylch y defed o ddosbarth y texel glas, ac fyddwn ni nôl I weld pa fath o drefn bydd y beiriad yn gosod rhain.
Diolch yn fawr, Adrian.
Wel, mae bethau'n poethi, mae yna Shed Foch, y beirniad Glyn Davies.
Thanks, Gerald. Well, we'll stay with Gerald because we'll leave the sheep ring and we'll go back to the pig shed for the second time this morning.
Yes, we're back in the pig shed and obviously seen the result of the first class. Perhaps Mr. Morgan here in shot and talking has selected what he'd like to produce, but we're more interested in what the judges produced then and selected to be as his winners to go forward to later on in the competition.
The
pig numbers are quite strong in the show. A lot of people are obviously suffering a little bit within the current problems within the pig industry, but they've come forward in strength and showed here in the Winter Ffair. And as I stated, the standard is exceptional, and the confirmation of these pigs and that are outstanding.
Felly mae gennym ni foch Cymreig a'r Petrin yn gael llwyddiant Marwyn.
And here we go, we got class 143, and it's a modern purebred cutter between 71 and 85 kilos, and we have come to a decision, and he has picked out Mr. Mother James. Petrin pig, and we can see exceptional good shape, and as I alluded to before, quite a bit of colour in this one, but I don't think that would have any influence on the judge. It's just what he can see and visualise on his butcher shop. One thing about the pigs, there's no coat or wool to hide any breed faults or any faults. They are, say, very, very slick. And see, what you can see under that skin is what you're going to get. Exceptional quarters, back end and back quarters, hind quarters, we should say, on this particular pig, and very, very good throughout the loin and shoulder, so it has all the meat in the correct places, and obviously we will see him feature probably later on in the Supreme. Good start for Mr. Murder James to get a first prize in the show, so we will come back to the pig ring later on and see the next class.
Noddir y rhaglen hon gan Coleg Glyn Llifon, rhan o grŵp Santriso Menai. Noddir y rhaglen hon gan Coleg Glyn Llifon, rhan o grŵp Santriso Menai.
Welcome back to the Royal Welsh Showground in the Winter Ffair. We're going straight back to the cattle ring. We've seen the Pedigree Welsh Black and the Pedigree Limousine Heifers. Let's have a look now at the Pedigree Herefords. Let's rejoin Gerald.
Yes, another native breed. Hereford cattle. World wide animal that is derived to survive in like our native Welsh Black under harsher conditions, and this I probably would state that the Aberdeen Angus and the Hereford are probably the largest number of animals right throughout the breeding herd right throughout the world. But anyway, we have only three here in this class again. Mr. Penny, in his job of judging here, although he's only exhibiting Limousine and Limousine cross cattle himself, then he has to turn his hand to all the breeds that will be presented in front of him here today. Continental breeds, and as I said, the native breeds. Good eating quality animals, and he won't be able to assess that. He has to assess what is in front of him. Three very, very matching heifers, actually. Probably there isn't too much weight difference between these three particular animals, so have an animal in here at 590, 638 and 650. Quite the hindquarters that he has to judge on the continental animals in that, but still, nonetheless, they are good quality animals. Probably the native breeds have had a little bit more of, they say the fat was back a few years ago. I won't say a dirty word, but fat seemed to feature out of it. But just in recent times then, I think a lot of butchers and a lot of people are more interested in the eating quality now of these animals, and the native breeds are making a strong comeback, and hence a lot of the abattoirs and butcheries as of today are paying a premium for a native animal. A little bit slower maturing and a little bit eating quality is what they're trying to say, and therefore, like I say, the fat has come back into it, because there's a lot of housewives will tell you that unless they have a little bit of fat on the animal, then there is nothing to make the gravy, and the quality of the meat then is so much nicer. So you see another local man there in the centre, Alan Richards, there in shot, showing a native breed.
Ddim yn teimlo nhw, a na le mae wybod pwy gandisiwn mae'r anifeiliaid mewn, achos mae cot yn gallu cuddio lot.
Yn union. Pwy sydd wedi mynd â hi? Mae wedi tynnu Alun mewn i'r safle cynta'r hyn o bryd. Hon wedys di o ti wedi ffansio non?
The Hereford cattle as of just derived from the county of Herefordshire, which is not too far south here of Builthwells. They did go into the Canadian Herefords, and the growth rate and that was supposed to be a lot faster in the Canadian Hereford, but I do believe that in recent times then they have come back to the traditional Hereford for, as I stated earlier, then the eating quality and a little bit thicker set animal, and whereas the Canadian Hereford was of a very rangy and tall animal, so therefore they did lose a little bit of their natural conformation. Anyway, Mr. Penny has arrived at the decision, and it is Mr. Alan Richards who's been successful.
Alan Richards ar teulu. Fydd e mor falch yn fydd.
We will see Alan and his good heifer, Hereford heifer, later in the show. Featuring champion heifer of the show.
Na, am y tro. Diolch o galon I ti. Diolch am dy gwmni. Wel, Alan, llong gyfarchiadau mowr iawn I ti.
Diolch yn fawr Iwan.
Ti'n wen o glist i glist o dan y mwgwd na?
Dim ond I hanner ydych gweld.
Well, Ivan is having a quick chat with Alan and saying he's probably got a broad smile on his face underneath that mask, which we can't see, but guaranteed is there. This is the third year that they've been here at the Winter Show, and it's a special day winning first place.
What a take, what a take. A be fydd hanes hon nawr, ti'n mynd I werthu ddi?
Odo.
He's just asking Alan if he'll be selling and hopefully sell it to a local butcher.
Anyhow, diolch.
Da iawn wir, dara.
Right, we'll leave the cattle ring for the time being. Don't forget, we do have English commentary here on S4C.
And any problems, please contact the S4C viewers hotline.
Right, we'll go back to the sheep ring, and we're back with the blue Texels, Gerald.
Yes, indeed, and since we've been away, Mr. Mulholland has been working very hard.
Dwi gan apus efo'r beirniau yna, achos oes i'n mwyd yn wylo yn y Mongolig.
And a job to recognise these handlers under these face masks, but he has arrived at a winner.
Gibbons o Aberhonddu yn ail, Aberhonddu wneud yn dda. A mond ochr draw, tafliad carreg wedyn o Aberhonddu, mae
Mr. Chris Davis.
Taldrym Llandeisant. Wel.
And there's Miss Sarah Gibbons in second position, so as they did to win here in the fair, and win the class alone is a tremendous achievement because of the quality and the standard is so high. And then every one of these pairs will go forward to the respective championship within their own breeds, and then go forward then to the overall championship too, obviously, which is everybody set their sights on, is winning the supreme pair of lambs in the Winter Ffair, and obviously will be sold later on.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you very much.
How long have you been in this breed?
About 7 years. So it's very pleasing and a strong class to come in like is.
Massive class.
Massive
well done
class,
to
yeah.
you, yes.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Were you shaking in your boots a bit?
A little bit, yes, but well, it's glad to be back and back in the routine, and yeah, glad to be up here at the Royal Welsh. So
because showing is so close to your heart, isn't it? How long have you been showing for?
Well, as long as I've had blues, really, and that's what really sparked my interest in the breed. So yeah, I'm very glad to, and yeah, got Owen here as well, and yeah, yes, that's it.
Congratulations to you. Well done, you.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Take care.
Well, let's return to the food hall, and as you can see, it's very busy there, and
Swansea fish,
people who are visiting the food hall, of course, having to wear food masks. And Nia in her Christmas cabin with Kieran Rees from the Swansea Fish Company, which is a family-run business based in the marina in Swansea. And Nia just mentioning the fact that it's good to see fish being displayed here at the Winter Ffair, and the family business was established 30 years ago, and Kieran has just restarted as well. Kieran is the son of Deborah and Paul, who established the business in Swansea 30 years ago, as I said. And Kieran is just mentioning the fact that during the lockdown period that they had to find a new way of selling their product. And they send the fish across the country by now.
A da chi wedi dod â sawl eog, salmon fan hyn wedi I fygu, a mae yna flasau gwahanol yma.
And they have brought several different smoked salmon to the Winter Ffair. One with Penderyn whiskey and honey. Nia's just asking Kieran who decides on the flavours. And it's his mother, Kieran's mother, Deborah, who makes those decisions. As I said, Penderyn whiskey and honey is the first one that Kieran is referring to.
Traditional oak smoke.
And the second one is the traditional oak smoke, which they have been making for several years. And they sell quite a lot in South Wales. And the consumers return to buy it year on year. And he is asking where do they get their fish from. A lot comes from Swansea, but a lot comes from all over the country. Obviously, some of the fish we can't get in Swansea. Fish like tuna, for example, come from far afield, but all the smoking is done on site in Swansea. And they also sell smoked prawns. And as Kieran is saying, his mother had an idea of smoking prawns, and it's very, very popular.
Dwi ddim yn mynd I blicio yna hyn ar rwan, achos dwi'n agorau, ond mi symudwn ni at y salmon nesaf.
Symud ymlaen.
Beth sy'r hwn ta?
So, fan hyn, gin and juniper.
And the one that Kieran is pointing out now is smoked with gin and juniper, which is also proving to be very, very popular.
Mynd ymlaen o fanna, mae vodka.
And then at the end is a smoked salmon with vodka.
And
he has just done how much experimenting do you have to do to get the flavours just so? It takes about 3 days for them to do each one. And they start by putting salt on both sides of the fish. It sits there in the salt for a whole day. And then after that they wash off the salt and wait until the fish is completely dry, and then it's smoked overnight. It's quite a long process, but it's well worth it. Now, if to buy one of these in the if you buy one of these in the Winter Ffair, how long would it last for? It would last for 30 days, although Kieran, a slip of the tongue, said it would last for 30 years, but it's 30 days.
Wel, pob dymuniad da lawr yna ar y stondin, Kieran, diolch am ddod I fyny ato ni. Mae'r bwyd yn blasu'n fendigedig, dwi'n siŵr y byddwch chi'n brysur iawn.
So it's one of the stalls that will well worth a visit if you are coming here to the Winter Ffair this year. Kieran is also mentioning the fact that they do have a website. Just look for the Copper Bay. And if you were to order any over the website, then they would deliver and it should arrive the next day. There we are. Kieran Rees from the Swansea Fish Family Business. Right, let's go straight back to the horse ring and rejoin Rachel.
Thanks, Gareth. So we've come back to the coloured and we've jumped now to the yearlings. Looks like they're going out for a final walk around. Obviously coats, fillies, geldings all in together, large breeds, small breeds all in together, and obviously all types with the colours. So we've got a final walk around, mixture here of both types. Obviously we're in quite cold temperatures up here, but I was lucky enough to judge the Royal International this year, the horse classes. They were huge classes in the heat wave in the middle of July, and it was a bit not disappointing, but some of the natives and the traditionals, the large traditionals, did find the hot weather quite hard work, whereas a lot of the hogged cobs and the plattids, obviously with some more blood in them, found it easier in the heat. But I was impressed with the number of animals forward, and the standard, as obviously some had qualified in 2019 and it had carried over to 2021. A very enthusiastic turnout with the colours. Always highly sort of fought classes, and what I think is nice, different horses can win under different judges, because as I mentioned earlier, sometimes we're sort of leaning towards platted, sometimes we lean towards traditional, as different judges like different things, and obviously we all like different animals to ride. Hopefully these will come out one day under saddle. So they're quite sort of, to me, there doesn't seem to be sort of, yes, the same animals are successful, but I also think it's quite interesting that different judges go to different things. You know, you're not got a standard type with the colours. And it looks like we've got 774 that's won this class, and I would say this is a similar type to what I've seen from the Chambers family. They've got a successful native that won Hoys, I believe, this year, and it was the Royal Welsh winner at the last Royal Welsh show. So, and I'd say that's quite a similar type there for Lisa Chambers. She has similar animals at home. And the winner there is Miss Michelle Pickford's Berg Wallace Storm Chaser.
Noddir y rhaglen hon gan Coleg Glyn Llifon, rhan o grŵp Santriso Menai. Noddir y rhaglen hon gan Coleg Glyn Llifon, rhan o grŵp Santriso Menai.
Welcome back to the Royal Welsh Showground for the Winter Ffair. We're back in the cattle ring, and this time Mr. Heifer sired by a Charolais, so it's straight back to Gerald.
Yes, indeed. Charolais heifers, sired by a Charolais. It can be out of numerous types of dams, and see the colour code then, obviously, then, because some will be out of a Limousine cross Belgian blue, and some will be out of a straight Limousine, which will be red, which comes out orange. So there is no hard and fast rule on what the colour will be. Same as Limousines and all crossbeds, but interesting to see that most of them are of that orange or cream colour. Tremendous coats always on the Charolais heifers. Charolais is renowned to produce a little bit more coat than perhaps the Limousine will. But you see, there in the right-hand shot, there's a heifer from Mr. Elvet Williams from Sennybridge. Big feature in the Farmer's Guardian about Elvet, been showing here at the Winter Ffair ever since it started, the start, and Mr. Williams has been, I don't know is it the correct term, but bridesmaid and not quite the bride many times. He's been reserved several times, so he's hoping perhaps that this will be his year, and starts in the Charolais, who will have a Limousine cross heifer later on. So he's examining, Mr. Penny is examining his Charolais there at the moment, and he's hoping that he'll have a good start to the show and get forward into the final lineup of champion heifer tomorrow. It's in the hands of Mr. Penny at the moment. Very attractive heifer. Charolais are very similar, just that perhaps a little bit thicker and a little bit heavier perhaps than the Limousine crosses. To be fair, then these are quite modern and good top lines and good underlines on them all. Slightly heavier heifer there at the end, and the weight range in these cattle here in this particular 5 is quite a significant difference actually. They're from 483 up to 628 kilos, so it's a lot of weight difference in the classes, because obviously they would have split this class if there had been more entries, and probably would have put them closer weights, as we will see later on when they come to the Belgian Blues with more entries, and the Limousines obviously there is a lot more entries in that, and that is what they do to minimise the size of class from Mr. Penny to a judge, and obviously makes his job a little bit easier then to see the animals of similar size side by side. Mr. Penny is leaving no stone unturned, and back and forth to every individual animal, and he gives the most care and utmost attention to everyone.
Oes, mae yna dipyn o rywiaeth o fewn y dosbarth yma efo'i pwysau. Mae yna rhai yn dipyn ysgafnach.
These animals are turned out to perfection, to be fair to the exhibitors.
Go special.
Say not a hair out of place.
Cai ar teulu. Mae'n sefyll allan I fi'n bersonol, a gan I weld
Do trim these animals in places and try perhaps to fool the judge a little bit by leaving the hair slightly longer in a place where they may think there's a fault or whatever, but still they are exhibited outstanding. So we'll have to come back later on and see what the result is in this particular class.
Wel, wedi gadael y cylch moch am y tro, wedi trywedda'n ffordd fel ci i'r adran gŵn hela.
Well, as you can see, Aaron has left the pig shed, and he's with the hounds by now.
Yeah, we're back. Well, not back, sorry, for the first visit of the actual show to the hound ring here, and Mr. Eddie Morgan from Llandovery, who is heavily involved with the local pack down in Llandovery there. Howie and Carthy. Not too sure what this particular class is, but there's 4 hounds, Welsh hounds. And see the huntsman of the Howie and Carthy coming there around there in 3rd position, Mr. John Hughes. John Hughes has been successful here in the show with hounds on previous years. Integral part of the Welsh.
Enter dydy hyn. So, esboniwch yn sydyn, be di'r gwaniaeth rhwng entered ac unentered?
Yn entered, dyn nhw'n mynd i bod yn rhedeg, dyn nhw'n mynd i cael register.
What's the difference, Gerald, between the entered and unentered hounds?
Entered hounds are hounds that are actually in the pack as it stands and are working. Unentered hounds are youngsters that are usually walked on farms to get used to all the livestock and fences and all the, say, problems that create when they're out hunting, and then they will be entered into the pack as of in the autumn pre-season. So, yeah, these are entered hounds. These are mature hounds. These are working hounds. The judge here will be looking for a lot of elements, and very, very most essential part of it is that they have very, very good legs and very, very good feet, because they do hunt on some very rugged terrain, which we've got here in Wales, on rocks and steep inclines, so they have to be very well made animals to withstand a hard day's hunting. There's a little trick or little sort of breed trait within the hounds, and we just seen the judge doing it there. The ears of a Welsh hound are supposed to be long enough to touch the point of its nose. Why that is, I have no idea, but because they use their nose to hunt with, so I don't know why would they want to get the ear in the way. I have no idea, but yeah, that is, and you will see the judge now will do the same look. He will pull the ears forward and check to see the length of the ears.
Yeah, I'm doing a bit of Googling. And we have this quote: "On the straightest of legs and the roundest of feet, with ribs like a frigate, his timbers to meet, with a fashion and a fling and a form so complete, that to see him dance over the flags is a treat." Now, this was written by the famed sporting writer and poet, obviously it wasn't me, George White Melville, who used to write a lot in the famous Horse and Hound magazine, and that was his little ode to the foxhound. So probably doesn't apply in the Welsh Hill Pack, so we don't have many flags for hounds to run over.
I was just going to say, the only thing that these have, and walls and fences, that's all these have to encounter.
I was just going to say as well, Rach, it's just as well you had a signal.
I know. We have signal in built. I will stay with this network. I won't mention who they are. I think they should...
Google, font of all knowledge.
Yeah, Google.
It's quite a essential part.
Other search engines are available.
Yes.
No, I mean, hounds. I love the Welsh hounds. I think they've just got more character than the English hounds, and obviously the packs in our area of Wales, we've got a mixture of English and Welsh, but hopefully we'll come back for a result later.
Yeah, look forward to that. Thanks, Rachel. Thanks, Gerald. We'll stay with Gerald because we are going to return to the sheep ring.
Yes, we're back in the sheep ring and back in the Texel Cross Lambs. Mr. Mulholland is still got his work cut out. We have a large glass here. Oh, sorry, it's the Beltex actually. The Beltex then themselves as a breed have improved the mobility of the lambs and sheep tremendous. They were, when they first hit these shores, very, I think the term would be stapled back, like almost like that their head was carried very low and their hind quarters, and that's all they were actually basically were. The middle, the loins and the rib cage, and that was very, very poor. But to be fair to the bit like the Belgian blue cattle, they have improved the locomotion and the frame of the sheep. So therefore now we have got exceptional back ends with good fronts and exceptional good loins. And in recent times the Beltex now has with the texel and the blue texel and them come to the fore in a lot of these commercial shows. So maybe in this particular class here we are looking at a future winner. Got to get through this class first, and it's an exceptional strong class of lambs.
Just as a matter of interest, Gerald, how difficult is it to breed the Beltex?
Well, it's not difficult to breed the Beltex. They do have renowned to have small pelvises then, and if you get an excessive muscular lamb within a purebred Beltex ewe, it does take a little bit to get it out. So yes, it's not as straightforward as it looks like, because if you lose the lamb at birth, it takes a very, very good man to sell a dead lamb at birth. But no, they're not the easiest sheep to farm. Certainly not, but as I stated earlier on, perhaps they got a little bit more easier now because they have put a lot of thought and breeding process into breeding, I would say, a more correct sheep then. And yeah, but they have their place then. The mules, Welsh mule ewe is a very, very good maternal mother, big, rangy, lacking conformation a little bit, and a lot of farmers are using Beltex rams on them to improve the conformation of the lambs which they market. And yes, so, but then if they're too small and short and whatever, well, they'll have a job to mate with these big, strong mule ewes. So they had to improve the locomotion and breed type of these rams to succeed then. And yeah, we're there in shot. We can see another successful person in the show ring with a pair of exceptional lambs, Mr. Michael Owen, who has been successful here before. So he's hoping that he will catch Mr. Mulholland's high. Job to recognise these people under all these masks, actually, but tremendous shape, trim very, very hard there with Mr. Owen, aren't they?
Ond beth sy'n mwy naturiol, mae 85% o'r dŵr sy'n cael ei yfed gan yn defed ni a'n gwartheg ni'n cwmpo fel glaw ar ein glaswell ni. Awr mae'r glaswell hwnnw'n cyfri am ryw 90% o'r hyn mae rwy'n yn ei fwyta.
And there's a tremendous variation in weight. Obviously in these lambs, Mr. Mulholland, as I alluded to before, will just have to assess. And we have a pair of these are joint weights actually. We have a pair of lambs in here at 68.5. And we also have a pair of lambs in there at 101.5. So quite a significant difference in size and strength of the lamb. And probably, as I stated earlier, the more mature lambs perhaps would be the ones that he would be looking for to put on his butcher's there. But there we go. We have Mr. Howell Williams there, who actually has got the lightest lambs in 68. So them lambs, in my calculations, would only be 34.2 equal weight. And anyway, we'll have to come back a little bit later and see who is successful.
Yeah, we'll be back in the sheep ring shortly, and it's so nice to see so many people who have travelled to visit the Winter Fair this year. Of course, this is the Society's first major event since the 2019 Winter Fair, and it's nice to see the crowds coming back here to the showground at Llanelwedd. And every measure has been put in place to ensure that everybody's safety is a top priority when they are visiting the showground here in Llanelwedd. Right, let's return to the cattle ring, and here's Gerald again.
Yes, we're back in the cattle class of the heifer sired by a Shallery bull. And while we win away, Mr. Penny has been assessing his potential winner. He's still not quite sure yet. He's still turning him around, and before he will line him up for his final lineup. And every competitor has got their eyes fixed on Mr. Penny, hoping that they is the one that he will point to first to pull in first position. There we are, he's made a decision and he's pulled in first, not necessarily first. He will probably assess and look at him once more, and pulling in at the moment is number 17. And that is from H&S Dunlop. Molly Malone. She is weighing at 566 kilos. That's his first choice.
Yn cael ei thynnu mlaen i'r ail safle ar hyn o bryd, sef
pulled in.
wedi drafod amdan gan Cai a'r teulu.
O'n i'n hoff iawn o honna hefyd, mae rai fi weid.
As I stated, this is not his final lineup. He will assess again, and perhaps these animals haven't stood side by side before, so he will be comparing the one with the other to see if he's missed anything or seen something else that he likes, or whatever the decision he wants to make.
O bosib yna chydig bach fwy o steil yn perthyn i'r gyntaf yma, a does a ddim gwastraff o gwbl ar ei bol hi na'n byd.
Na, goes, dim o gwbl, dyna ni'n gweld y ddwy.
Very attractive heifer there, then very limousine-like heifer with H&S Dunlop there in first position at the moment.
Sydd o blaen y beirniad, Chris Penny, ond dwi'n meddwl mai dyma fydd.
To be fair, every heifer is very, very good, and the standard is outstanding.
Dwi'n meddwl fydd na newid mawr nawr i'r drefn yma. Yr heifer o'r Alban yn y safle cyntaf hyn o bryd. Heifer teulu Edwards o Betws Gwerfil Goch yn yr ail safle.
Just to quote a little quotation then that anybody will ask. It doesn't matter how long it takes to do it, as long as you do it right. And that's what Mr. Penny has installed in his mind. Nobody will ask him how long it took him to judge him, but plenty will ask if he got it right. And obviously there will be people outside that will think he's wrong. These are all individual judges around the outside. Probably be the only one that'll agree with him, perhaps will be the winner, but it is his day, Mr. Penny's day, and as later on tomorrow, himself and the steer judge will have to agree to choose their overall champion, but at the moment then Mr. Penny is the one that is selecting the heifer champion and the heifer winner, of every individual class, then to go on to choose the overall heifer champion. Just slight adjustment. He's taken now the third and fourth positions over, so he's obviously seen something or that he might favour. It looks now as if he has made his final decision, and the winner is H&S Dunlop with Molly Malone, weighing 566 kilos. Congratulations to them, and we will see them again.
Wel, arbennig iawn.
Yes, it's been a successful time for Molly Malone there, winning the class here at the Winter Ffair, and also won the class at the Agro Expo this year.
I think if you went and asked every showman that would be showing cattle here then to receive a red card in the Royal Welsh Show would be their dream, but obviously it's the coloured one they want at the end. And
she was Charlie champion there, so we're quite pleased with that.
And she's done it again. She's looking so well, isn't she? She's travelled well down from Scotland.
Yeah, we're very happy with how they all settled in on the lorry and have settled down well once they came here, so that's definitely helped.
Well, it's great seeing so many of you Scots down here with us in Wales. Enjoy your stay in Wales and good luck.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Come on, Molly.
Molly Malone agreeing with Ivan.
Twitter ac Instagram.
And don't forget, we're all over social media. Contact us on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. And if you want to visit the website, it's there on the screen. s4c.cymru/fireaf. Right, we're back with the hounds again.
They're back in the hound ring, and looks as if the judges arrived at his final decision on the class of the entered dog hound.
Well, I quite like the first hound that we saw in the last slot. I thought he had a lot of bone but I'm probably wrong, and he's probably lost.
I think the first hound, Mr. Mean, and
I best stick to horses. Oh no, it wasn't very tall.
Ddim yn siŵr. Edyn ni mwy, y beirniad sy'n cael ei...
Ie.
Diolch am y sgwrs, Edi.
Diolch i chi.
Noddir y rhaglen hon gan Coleg Glyn Llifon, rhan o grŵp Santriso Menai. Noddir y rhaglen hon gan Coleg Glyn Llifon, rhan o grŵp Santriso Menai.
Welcome back to the Royal Welsh Showground. At 10 o'clock this morning, the Winter Ffair was opened officially by the Chair of Council of the Royal Society, David Lewis.
Bod yn ôl a dweud bod y gymdeithas yma o hyd. Hyfryd yw cael cwrdd gyda chydnabod unwaith yn rhagor. Ystyriaf hi felly yn fraint ac yn anrhydedd o'r mwyaf cael datgan bod ffair eiaf 2021 ar agor. Thank you.
Dai Lewis yn agor y ffair.
Yeah, David Lewis opening the Winter Ffair officially this morning, and after announcing his retirement from the position of Chair of Council.
Dwi'n credu bod fi wedi bod yn ffodus tu hwnt.
Well, I think I've been very, very fortunate to have been here farming at Penrhyw in Llandersil, and it's been an honour to work with the local community. It's important to keep an eye on these sheep. There's plenty of room here, but they like to go feeding in the hedgerows, and one or two get their heads stuck in the fence quite often. Up until about 3 years ago, we had a herd of Charolais cattle for about 40 years. But recently, we've been farming sheep.
Dog and stick farmer,
At 5 or 55 or 55, 60.
Of course, I've been an auctioneer for several years, celebrating 60 years. Last March, I started in 1961 in the markets in Carmarthen, Llandysul and Newcastle Emlyn. I started with the show back in Meanle in 1974, so it's almost half a century. I think I was the first voice to be heard over the tannoy system in the first ever Winter Ffair. The sponsors then, and still are, were HSBC. And of course I made the big mistake of introducing them into the ring by saying Roy and Rod represent Barclays Bank. Well, it wasn't well received, I must say, but I said to them, gentlemen, any publicity is good publicity, and we've been good friends ever since then. In 2005, I was the Royal Welsh Show president. It was a fantastic year. And in 2007, when Pembrokeshire were the county, and on the Wednesday, of course, the Welsh Cobs Day, it was a bit of a challenge to see them running around in the ring with all the mud. And also in 2018, I was honoured to receive the Society's Gold Medal. I didn't know it was going to happen, and it was even more of a memorable occasion because of that. The last 18 months has been a bit of a challenge. Having spoken to the people I meet on a day-to-day basis, they really miss the Royal Welsh Show and the Winter Ffair, and it's an honour to officially open the Winter Ffair this year. I'm certain it'll be a Winter Ffair to remember. I feel it's an honour to have served as the chair of the council. I'm not really looking forward to Tuesday evening, to be perfectly honest. But we have to move on. I have to hand over the baton to the younger generation and let the younger generation take over. I hope that I'll be able to offer my services to the society in any way possible. If they need any help at all, they know where I am. And David Lewis, or Di Lewis as he's known, is joining me up. And you are, of course, a very familiar face with the Royal Welsh Society, and he's so glad to see so many people who have ventured here to the Winter Ffair, because we weren't certain that there would be a Winter Ffair this year or not. but it's a miracle, really.
Oedd yn swybu yn y ffair cynta un yn 1999.
Well, as one of the voices who was commentating at the first Winter Ffair, you've seen the Winter Ffair grow in its popularity. Well, in the Royal Welsh Show in the summer, you feel as if you have to be here for 4 days, but with the Winter Ffair, you can be here for a day, or you can, if you want, spend both days here. And somehow or other, it just feels that people are closer together here at the Winter Fairs. Not so many people here as you would see in the summer, but it's a very, very good atmosphere. And of course, this is appropriate for the period we're in at the moment. This is what we need. Indeed it is. Yes, everybody's so glad to be back here. And that's something that's very much appreciated. Of course, you've had to make some very difficult decisions during the course of the last couple of years, as many other people have. Yes, we've been meeting virtually, as it were, about 2 or 3 times a month. But then again, the work has been managed to be done. And the leadership has been exceptional. John Davis and Steve Hewson, of course, they've steered the ship in a very special way. Everybody has contributed just to make sure that there's something at the end of the year to look forward to, and to raise our spirits in rural Wales especially. We've reset the clock, as it were. There's a feeling that we're coming back to some kind of normality. Who knows? What are the challenges as we go forward from here? Well, the thing is, everybody's going to expect everything to be as it was, but it won't be like that. There are restrictions, of course, that we have to adhere to. Even looking forward to the summer show, there's been staff shortages, and that's got to be a challenge. The society have never had to face a situation such as this before, but we're prepared to face the challenges. You're very good at finding the answers to these problems, and hopefully this period is behind us. The proof is in the pudding, and this is the Christmas pudding, as it were, to the people of Wales. It's very. You are, of course, these days farming sheep, so we shall return to the sheep ring and rejoin Gerald.
Yes, we're back in the sheep section with one pair of Beltex lambs. Mr. Mulholland has been working tirelessly since we've been away. I'm sure he's making slight adjustments again. I believe coming around the top there, we featured these 2 young ladies before from the Hall family. They won the Texel class, so at this present moment they're standing on top of the Beltex class, so they will have 2 exceptional good pairs in the final lineup if Mr. Mulholland decides this is the way it is to remain. Very, very good pair of lambs, but as they all are right throughout the line, and you can see, as I alluded to earlier on, right down now, he has gone now. Then the heaviest lambs are in the centre there, 101.5 for Mr. Owens, and this current pair of lambs at the top end here are 92.5. There'll be 46.2 each, so there is quite a significant difference. And at the down end, the bottom end of the lineup at the moment is Mr. Howell Williams with his 68.5 combined weight, so there's quite a significant difference. But here we go, his first prize has gone to number 527. The Hall family again from Carlisle.
yn y pencampwriaethau.
Slated they will be featured later on in the overall championship.
Adrian.
Tremendous pair of lambs.
Falle fydd rhain yn beryglus iawn yn y pencampwriaethau. Well, congratulations once again, second first of the show. How do you do it every year, turning out these incredible animals?
Just, don't know, try to choose the right tubs. The people who bring them out are fantastic, and yeah, just keep trying.
And when do you rest this time of the year? Do you rest?
Not right at the moment, but after tomorrow we might.
And look out for Christmas then.
Yeah, that's it.
Congratulations once again.
Thank you very much.
Diolch i chi.
Thank you.
Noddir y rhaglen hon gan Coleg Glyn Llifon, rhan o grŵp Santriso Menai. Noddir y rhaglen hon gan Coleg Glyn Llifon, rhan o grŵp Santriso Menai.
Welcome back to the Royal Welsh Showground. We're going straight back to the cattle ring, and here's Gerald once again.
Yes, we move on in different breed again, or a different crossbred again then. This is the Heifer sired by a Limousine. Sorry, by a British Blue. And they have actually split these classes. We've seen 4 previous heifers in the side by Belgian Blue, and they range from 482 to 598. And this is the heavier end of the class, where the animals range from 622 to 720, so very nearly 100 kilos difference.
It's a lot of meat, Gerald.
A lot of meat, yes, you're quite correct, yes. Actually, a lot of animals, they might not vary too much in size, because some will carry it slightly different to others, and some will be slightly more mature than other animals, and wider. So actually looking across the top line of the animals, you might not think that there is too much difference in weight, but usually when you stand behind them, or if they step on your foot, you'll find out, you know, guaranteed.
Indeed you would.
A lot of these sired by a Belgian Blue, the mothers will vary from different crossbred cows. Probably a lot of Limousine influence in a lot of the dams. And this is hence where the black colour has come from, and a lot of showmen like black colour. Tends to catch the eye. Tremendous walking ability, width in these animals.
Show potentials,
Tendency, as I alluded to before, like the Beltec sheep and the pure Belgian Blues, they were tremendous back ends, but then usually go very, very weak in their loin area. But to be fair, both societies, now called the British Belgian Blues, have improved their locomotion, the characteristics of the breed by a lot. And whereas many years ago it was this big back end, was everybody thought was the most expensive parts of the animal, but obviously it is not. See another local producer there. Animal being examined at the moment is Annie Lewis from Brecon, just over the Epping Mountain. You can recognise her with the blonde hair. Mr. Penny, so far as we've noticed, has been tending to go for that middleweight heifer, or even in fact the lighter weight heifers in these classes. So he has a real animal in this one at 720 kilos. It'll be interesting to see if he goes to that one, or he stays true to what he's been picking earlier on in sort of the mid 500s to 600 kilos. And but obviously assessing the animal as an individual, not on its weight, but he must be playing a little bit on his mind perhaps.
Gossip Girl.
Gossip Girl, is the enw David.
We look ar enwer ar heffron ma. O da ni Baby Bell, Black Magic, Gossip Girl, Ebony Girl, Peppercorn, read all about it. Enwe da.
Os o gen ti heffer, beth enw hwnna?
Wel, na ti gwestiwn da. Na ti gwestiwn da.
His efforts, as I stated, have been prepared and walked and managed, and just as the judge goes to put his hand on, they'll guarantee to move. So, but there's something they can't do. But anyway, we'll have to come back and see what Mr. Penny's decision is a little bit later.
Yn y dosbarth I heffrod o darw glas Prydeinig. Am y tro, David, diolch yn iawn I ti.
Diolch I ti.
Mae'n braf iawn wedi dweud I bod ti yn brysur yma ar y maes. Y ffair eia, eleni, ydy...
Well, as I said earlier on, it's such a nice sight to the crowds having returned here to the Royal Welsh Showground for the Winter Ffair. It is, as I've said before, the Society's first major event since the Winter Ffair was held here back in 2019. Right, we'll move from the cattle ring to the horse ring and rejoin Rachel.
Thanks, Gareth. And we've gone up to the coloured championship. Lisa Chambers taking a final look we've got the Willows Way Studs second foal on camera now. Willows Way Love Affair. I've been looking at some of the breeding of these, and there are quite a few by sports pony stallions, and we've got warm blood stallions. There's a few with Welsh blood in them. Interestingly enough, the winner of the yearling class was by Section C. And here we go, we got the champion 774. The pony I just mentioned is Michelle Pickford's, coming all the way from Lancashire. Burr Wallace Storm Chaser.
Willows Way Love Affair.
Bred by Burr Wallace Stud, by Burr Wallace Moonlight, which is actually a Polino Section C, and out of Grafter's Lass. And then we've got the foal coming into reserve. Sorry, that's the second in the yearling class. So champion and reserve have gone to the yearlings. Second being Willows Way Stud, Willows Way Love Affair, bred by them. This one's by Freckleton Royal Affair. Another Anglo-European stallion by Co-Pilot. Quite a new stallion. So there we've got the champion going back to Lancashire and the reserve going back to Cumbria. And we'll be back later on.
Thanks, Rachel. Right, it's back to the sheep ring, and I'd imagine perhaps, Gerald, a decision would be imminent here.
It looks very much like it, yes, indeed. I believe we're in the half-bred section. Pair of Welsh half-bred lambs. Back to the native bred lambs. Local to myself then again, Mr. and Mrs. Hughes, down there in Llandilo, been called forward first.
Hefyd, dim ond bod ni'n gwneud gwaith galed yn trosi porfa falle o bosib o ansawdd is I Brodin a Chig Meithlon, ond mae hefyd yn cadw mynyddau ni edrych mor hardd ag ydyn nhw.
Mae'n holl bwysig I dirwedd Cymru ac I economi Cymru, achos mae hi'n fam I gymaint o wyn i'r fachnad.
A little bit different type of lambs and confirmation lambs of what we've been witnessing just of late in the belt decks, Texel, blue Texels. We're now back to the native breed. This is the Welsh half-bred lambs, and not the strongest of classes we've ever seen, but still 3 pairs.
Mr. Jeff Probert o Gair Rangon.
And we have our first look here today then at the judge we have not witnessed before, Mr. Jeff Probert, Nottingham Town Farm, Worcestershire. Oh, there we go, he's awarded Mr. Hughes from Llandilo, first prize with their crossbred Border Leicester lambs. I'm sure the Hughes family will be excited by the decision. And Mr. Probert there from Worcestershire breeds Charolais with his wife and 2 sons. Sells a lot of Charolais rams here in Builthwells in the NSA ram sales, and sells a lot of rams at home. He has judged here at the Royal Welsh Show in the summer shows before, and he has competed a lot himself. Mr. Robert has at a lot of local fat stock shows with his Charolais rams, but this is slightly different in the native breeds. I'm sure you get by, so hopefully we'll see the Hugheses there, excitable people, or very happy people I should say, from Llandilo later in the crossbred section championship.
A dyma ni felly'n cyrraedd pen llanw y dosbarth yma I
Well, we'll stay with Gerald because it's a quick hop, step and a jump from the sheep ring to the cattle ring.
And we're back with the second part of the heifer side by the Belgian Blue. Standing on the top position here at the moment.
120 kilo. A mae yn Heifer yn dwi. Mae yna hyd yn hon, yn ysdi? A hon, yn Heifer berig.
Read all about it.
Yn y ffair eleni.
From Williams and Tippets. This is probably the heaviest heifer that we've seen to date. She is 720 kilos, so if Mr. Chris Penny stays with the actual lineup at the moment, this will be the heaviest heifer that he has awarded first prize to so far. Obviously his decision hasn't been made yet, but this is if he has made his decision, yes, and it is Williams and Tippets. Read all about it, which we will see again in the championship of the heifers.
Read all about it. Wedi cipio'r garden goch yn y dosbarth yma, yr heifer dryma yn y dosbarth.
In second place there is Miss...
Dwi'n meddwl, mae hon yn mynd I fod yn heifer berig iawn yn y ffair eleni. David, wyt ti'n cytuno?
Danny Lewis leading for Mr. Colin Harris. Second place at Ebony Girl at 628 kilos.
Gai pen y mwdwl ar y dosbarth bach yma. Ond pidwch mynd rhy bell.
We'll see. Read all about it later on. Maybe we'll read all about it in the press in the future. Who knows?
Noddir y rhaglen hon gan Coleg Glyn Llifon, rhan o grŵp Santriso Menai. Noddir y rhaglen hon gan Coleg Glyn Llifon, rhan o grŵp Santriso Menai.
Welcome back to the Royal Welsh Showground. The Winter Ffair, of course, well underway by now, and we return to the hounds, and it's the championship of the Welsh hounds, the best of the best.
Yes, and in this class then we will have an entered bitch, unentered bitch, and an entered dog and an unentered dog. So John Hughes from Irvine and Towie going round in front of us. Gantu from Llanwnin in front of himself. And the two gentlemen that I know quite well.
It's just interesting to see that these packs are quite far West Wales and Mid Wales. There doesn't seem to be many sort of Glamorgan packs, and I'm not sure why,
I'm not too sure neither, but I mean the Welsh predominantly is in Mid Wales and North Wales hounds, majority of them. Perhaps then there's a little bit of influence in your part of the world then of a little bit of English or a little bit of Hell creeping in.
Possibly, yeah. There are.
So these have stayed, like I know that Irvine and Towie and Llanwnin hounds are two packs that I know quite well. They have remained pure Welsh for a very, very long time, like, so.
Yeah, and I guess the country down with you is a lot hillier.
Yes, that's right. Yes, that's right.
In sort of the Glamorgan packs, Glamorgan area.
Yes.
I mean, I know they do normally show, and there's been hound shows in the summer, and obviously last year people's puppy shows were all cancelled, but all the hunts have had their puppy shows this year, and it's interesting to know that some of the hounds, because they missed last season, sort of are a little bit, novice really, and inexperienced, because last year obviously we were on lockdown, literally hunting for only obviously trail hunting of course, for only a few weeks of the year rather than a few months, so they should have been out doing the job.
That's right.
So, and no hound shows the summer before, but I know they've been out and about this summer showing at their own puppy shows. This is the same as showing anything really, isn't it? The handlers are clever in showing off the best attributes of their animal, whether it's a hound, sheep, cattle or horses.
That's right. So standing at first place at the moment here at the top end is the Irvine and Towie pack, which is actually kennelled up in Llanwrtyd Wells, and Llanwnin there in second place then is kennelled in, obviously in Llanwnin up in Lampeter. So champion goes to Irvine and Towie with their entered dog hound.
Yeah, we didn't really have the best camera view. It would have been nice to have seen them head on.
That's quite right.
Or even side on, to appreciate the conformation and the strength of these hounds.
Well, Pythi mae'r cystadlu ynghylch y gwartheg.
Back to the cattle ring then, and here's Gerald once again.
And we are now into the heifers sired by a Limousine, and this is part 2. And the Limousine sired heifer is split into 4 sections actually, and this is what we alluded to before. They start at the lower end of weights wise, and the lowest entry in this particular class is 424, and in 7.4 class, which would be the 4th class, the heaviest would be 718. So in this particular class we're in, say, the 2nd section, and it is from 534 to 599 kilos. Limousine has featured very, very strongly in the Limousine, in the success at the Royal Welsh Winter Ffair here, and usually, well, not usually, but quite often then, the Limousine sired animal has come to the fore, and it has come out of these middle sections of the heifer section. But there is some outstanding cattle we've seen prior to this class, both blue, Shalleries, Limbs, Herefords, Welsh Blacks. Now we're into the strongest section of all. And we do see a variation of colours here with red and black. We see also some roan coloured heifers. All depend basically on their dams. We will have a purebred black now because there is a black Limousine society, and maybe we will see. We didn't see in the pedigree section, but maybe in the future we will see a black pedigree Limousine heifer coming forward. Mr. Penny then as Limousine breeder himself, pedigree Limousine breeder. Perhaps he'd have his eyes and fancy maybe to represent his breed, that a winner will come from this particular section. But I'm sure that he will admire if it's an outstanding Belgian Blue or an outstanding Chalery, then that they will come to the fore. He is here to judge the cattle on their own merit, even though maybe he will be hoping that a Limousine would come to the fore. As we stated earlier on, then we have had no shows, only just a couple of shows lately. The Anglesey did go ahead and the English Fair went ahead, but summer shows haven't been, so most of these competitors have not seen their rivals' animals right throughout the summer, whereas they've been competing against one another if the summer shows are on a regular basis. So I'm sure there's a lot of anticipation last night when most of these, or yesterday when most of these animals arrived. They'd be running around to see what our rival has got, and I'm sure there's some great banter that they may be thinking that they got a better one, but you would say perhaps this time it is more of a I don't want to say level playing field, but like there has been no prior competitions, and therefore Mr. Penny would be probably the first person to have adjudicated on these animals at all, and therefore out of his mind would be that maybe this animal won in a local show somewhere or whatever, and that he might be influenced, but there is no influence at all here. Then all these animals, as I say, might have been out once before, but not many times, and probably, as Gareth stated earlier, then this is the first show that they will have been presented at. Some good confirmation heifers, and we'll have to come back later on to see which Mr. Penny has selected as his winner.
Peidiwch anghofio fod gynnon ni sylwebaeth Saesneg. There's an English language option available, and any problems, please contact the S4C Viewers Hotline.
Right, let's return to Rachel and let's see what's going on in the horse ring at the moment.
Thanks, Gareth. We've jumped on to the next section now, which is Welsh Part-Breds, and we can see in front of us our judge, Mr. Andrew Phillips from Staffel, Llandysul in Ceredigion, assessing his first class of foals. So a bit of background from my notes about Andrew. Predominantly involved with Welsh ponies, and his first pony was a Section B. His prefix is Imar, and he's bred Part-Breds, Palominos, and they've had success as show ponies predominantly, but he now concentrates on breeding Section Bs. He's on the Welsh Pony and Cob panel for ridden Bs, Part-Breds, and also the Palomino Society panel. And lucky for him, he's judged in Australia 3 times. I think that's the panel to be on. Nobody seems to want ridden hunter judges in Australia, which is a bit of a shame, but there we go. So a nice class year of foals for Mr. Phillips, and we haven't quite caught the class view, we're just seeing the final walk round. So there were 16 entries in this, and this is obviously the small Part-Bred class, and it looks like our winner is 789, Mrs. V.C. Thomas's Mount Pleasant Silver Charm. bred by themselves by their own stallion, Mount Pleasant Royal Romance. So that's from Pembrokeshire. Stud quite successful in the show pony and part bred ranks. I can just see 783 second, and that's Mrs. Dawn Lee's Bardwell Arabesque, and they've come down from Cheshire.
Well, and diosgi het am ar penderfyniad wedi cael ei
And then we've got one of the, I can't quite see the number, I think coloured from the earlier classes in third. Obviously with the Welsh part breds, the requirement is that they need 12.5% blood. As with the coloured, they can be any height, type or colour, but obviously this is split into small and large, so these are not to exceed 14.2 at maturity, or 148 if I'm being correct and going all metric. So there we go, there's the winner, Mount Pleasant Silver Charm of the Welsh part bred
Mount Pleasant Silver
foal class. So we're going to come back and hopefully show you a bit more of the yearlings.
Noddir y rhaglen hon gan Coleg Glyn Llifon, rhan o grŵp Santriso Menai. Noddir y rhaglen hon gan Coleg Glyn Llifon, rhan o grŵp Santriso Menai.
Welcome back to the Royal Welsh Showground for this year's Winter Ffair, and it's nice to see so many people having visited the showground today. And Nia is joined by Mared Ran-Jones, who is Head of Operations with the Royal Welsh Agricultural Society. And you've had to face many challenges before this year's show. And Marit's just explaining that it was only in August that they could announce officially that there was going to be a Winter Ffair this year, and it's good to be back. All the work has been worth it, and it's nice to see so many people that we haven't seen for 2 years. And it's nice to see the energy and the enthusiasm around the showground today. And Marit is just reminding everybody, if you are thinking of coming to visit the show tomorrow, then you need to buy the tickets beforehand, and you could do so on the Royal Welsh Agricultural Society's website. Obviously, there's been a few regulations that they've had to employ here today, asking the visitors to wear the face masks if they're inside the buildings, and everything is going well. And here's just saying the smile on Marit's face says it all. And thanks for the hard work, and thanks for being able to put the Winter Ffair together this year. Right, straight back to the cattle ring then, and let's rejoin Gerald.
We're back to section 2 of the Limousine side. Heifer. Mr. Penny has been working tirelessly since we've been away.
Cyfartaledd o bwysig fan hyn yn y dosbarth yma a'r beirniad wedi rhoi nhw yn is-safleoedd ac Ifan Phillips sy'n gwmni fi. Dwi'n meddwl fydd e'n newid rhagor.
Na, fydden ni ddim yn meddwl. Mae Heifer ma gyda Deo Roberts Tinant wedi...
The top at the moment is a red Limousine.
Mae'n Heifer eithriadol o dda, mae'n siwto beth mae'r beirniad heddi'n edrych amdano.
Mr. Penny hasn't finished at the moment, but at the moment, standing on the top position there is number 66, Mr. Deo Roberts, with Miss Wales. She's weighing 572 kilos, but Mr. Penny hasn't arrived at his final decision yet. But I think Deo thinks he's won because he's pulled her out a long way from the rest, perhaps. But no, she's exceptional, nice heifer, well made, well balanced.
A mae hon yn pwyso o gwmpas rhyw 572 kilo, felly gyda'r tryma yn y dosbarth yma.
Mr. Penny there is running over at his present moment between 3rd and 4th position, but you may not think that it is important that 3rd and 4th position might not come into the frame, but that colour card means a lot to these individuals as producers here in the Royal Welsh Winter Ffair. And as I stated earlier, to get a card of any colour means a lot, but the higher the ranked up you go, the better it is. But they all want the red one.
Chris Penny.
Yes, Mr. Penny has made his final decision, and it is number 66, Mr. Deo Roberts has become winner of this particular 7.2, the second section in the Limousine section, and he will therefore go forward to represent the Limousine in the next section.
A dyma ni'r perchenog hapus, Deo Roberts, llonggorchiadau, ni'n gweld yr heifer wrth ymyl, di fyna?
Well, Deo Roberts has had some success with Miss Wales, having won the Anglesey Winter Ffair this year.
A wedi I magu adre, neu wedi...
Na, di ffynnu ag yn Ari Roberts yn gof Park Farm there.
And Deo just explaining that Miss Wales was bought from Ari Roberts in Pentref. And she's quite a good one to handle.
Ond mae wedi gwneud y tric gen I to. A pob lwc I ti nawr wrth I ddim mlaen i'r bencampwriaethau.
And Ifan is just wishing Deo all the best in the championship, which is to come later, of course. Right, just to remind you quickly, we are with you here on S4C until 1 o'clock. We will be back at 2 and broadcasting until 5 o'clock this afternoon. In the meantime, let's go back quickly to the sheep ring and rejoin Gerald.
Yes, we're back in the Beltex section of the
fantastic
sheep section, and as I alluded to before, usually... Oh, sorry, we Mr. Intervin, it is the
moyn yn y siop, enwedig nawr bwrw ymlaen am Nadolig, maen nhw'n sef.
Butcher's weight. So we are now in section 103.2. These can be of crossbred lambs or of any particular breed. And it's a pair of lambs now that are actually split into weight. So the judge's job is just that perhaps a little bit easier, because in section 2 here we are from 74 kilos combined weight to 79.5. We have Mr. Mulholland, who we featured earlier, judging these lambs again. So these can be crossbred lambs, so these can be Beltex cross Texel, Beltex cross Shallery, Beltex cross anything. Or we see a pair of blue Texel cross lambs over there as well. So this is now butcher's weights, but he is ideally looking for a butcher's carcass as well.
Familiar faces there, Gerald, at the end of the line.
Yes, we have featured the pair of young ladies representing the Hall family up there in Carlisle. So I suggest that they did come down with more than one pair of lambs in their truck, didn't they?
Yes.
Well, they have been very, very successful in commercial shows all around the country, and many times we have featured these here in the Royal Welsh Show. And the way they are going at the moment, they'll be very, very strong contenders in the final lineup later on. There's some good pairs of lambs to get by here first.
Yeah,
at the moment they're standing on the top of the line. And there you go again. They have been successful again.
Wel, riban coch arall i'r casgliad. Fe fydd seld rein yn llawn erbyn diwedd y ffeiri eleni.
Cwbl o bennau tosfor I fyd.
Ie, Gleid, dwi'n meddwl fi'n edrych yn fawr iawn ti, Sian. Wel, Joanne.
A pair are weighing 79 kilos combined weight, so 39 and a half.
Thank you.
How do you sum up all the success?
I can't. I can't. Just a team effort of everybody, and it really is.
Sorry, they are 71 kilos. They are.
Quite
so
few.
35 and a half kilos.
At the moment, so unfortunately he's not here today. My
He's
daughter,
missing the Welsh Winter Ffair.
He's travelling back today, so he might turn up tomorrow. You never know.
I wouldn't be surprised. It's not like him to miss the Welsh Winter Ffair.
It isn't, but it's a team effort of every. You know, there's people at home that aren't here that should take as much credit as us showing, and it really is a team effort, and I'm very, very grateful to everybody.
How many of these Beltexes have you got?
And Texels? About 1,200 Beltex and Texel crosses, and 300 Chiviots.
A lot of work, lambing time.
And it's
not an easy breed to keep, are they?
It's not, but it really is a team effort of everybody.
You deserve a medal. Llongyfarchiadau mawr iawn.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Wel, mae'n darllediad ni bore, mae'n tynnu ti ar terfyn.
Well, this morning's broadcast is coming to an end. As I said before, we will be back at 2 o'clock and here until 5 o'clock. In the meantime, let's just see what the weather has in store. It's about 5 degrees Celsius at the moment, and it'll be cloudy this afternoon, and a few drops of rain on the west coast. It's going to be warmer on Anglesey, about 11 degrees centigrade, but tonight, overnight, there are going to be a few showers in the Llanelwedd area. It'll be a mild night. Inland, the temperature won't be much higher than 5 degrees centigrade. Tomorrow morning, a cloudy start to the day. There will be some sunny intervals during the course of the day. A few showers here or there. Highest temperature about 12 degrees centigrade. It'll be about 10 degrees centigrade here in Llanelwedd but towards the evening tomorrow we can expect some rain. I just correct myself, by the way, we are leaving you for the time being. We'll be back at 2 and we will be with you until 4 o'clock this afternoon. It's been a great start to the Winter Ffair and we look forward to see what's in store later on.
Noddir y rhaglen hon gan Coleg Glyn Llifon, rhan o grŵp Llandrillo Menai.
Helo na, pnawn da i chi. Yn ôl Prif Swyddog Meddygol Cymru, mae'n anochel y bydd yr amrywiolyn newydd o Covid-19 yn cyrraedd Cymru. Ond fe gadarnhaodd y Dr Frank Atherton nad oedd yna achosion o Omicron yma ar hyn o bryd. Dath i sylwadau ar ôl i Brif Weinidog Cymru, Mark Drakeford, ddweud y dylai pawb sy'n cyrraedd Prydain hunan ynysu am 8 diwrnod. Mae a Phrif Weinidog yr Alban, Nicola Sturgeon, wedi galw am gyfarfod brys o bwyllgor ar gyfyngau Cobra. Yn y cyfamser, mae ffigurau diweddara Iechyd Cyhoeddus Cymru yn dangos fod 10 person arall wedi marw yma gyda Covid-19. Cafodd bron i 4,000 o achosion newydd i cofnodi hefyd dros gyfnod o ddeuddydd. Mae dyn wedi ymddangos o flaen llys wedi gyhuddo o lofruddio gwraig 65 oed yn ei chartre ger Pontypridd. Cafodd corff June Fox Roberts sydd ar ganfod yn Llanilltid Feirdre ychydig dros wythnos yn ôl. Fe fydd Luke Deely sy'n 25 oed yn ymddangos o flaen llys eto ym mis Ionawr. Ac mae dros 1,000 o gartrefi yn dal i fod heb drydan yng Nghymru wedi i storm arwen achosi anhrefn dros y penwythnos. Roedd hyd at 30,000 o dai heb bwer ar un adeg. Mae SP Energy Networks yn dweud i bod nhw'n gweithio'n galed i geisio adfer cyflenwadau. A dyna chi'r gyfan am y tro. Fe fyddai nôl gyda'r bwletin nesau i chi am 5 munud i 2. Tan hynny felly, diolch am eich cwmni a hwyl fawr iawn i chi.
Ac mi fyddwn ni nôl yng nghanol bwrlwm y ffair eiaf pnawn 'ma am 2 o'r gloch ar S4C, ond nawr draw ni I gynhesrwydd stiwdio. Prynhawn da.
Helo na, croeso cynnes ato ni, a da iawn chi am gofio bod ni mlaen am 1 o'r gloch heddi, a gobeithio bod chi'n mwynhau arlwy y ffair eiaf.
Ond yw'n neis I gael y ffair nôl.
Yn dyw e just.
O, mae hon, wrth gwrs, yn wythnos arbennig fan hyn, achos mae'n wythnos ola mis Tachwedd, wythnos gynta mis Rhagfyr, sy'n golygu ganol yr wythnos, bydd craccadolig nôl.
O, fydd glei. Mae'r coed dyn ni'n barod I fynd, mae'r arddiniadau fydd I fel groto yma, di Mercher.
O, ni'n barod I fynd, ni'n barod am bopeth fan hyn, a cofiwch wrth gwrs fydd y gwobre eleni yn wych eto, ond os fyddwch chi'n cystadlu da chi, cofiwch ateb y ffôn yna.
Yeah. A gweud craccadolig.
A gweud craccadolig hefyd, ie. Yeah. Ganol yr wythnos yw hwnna.
Ie, nawr dyn nôl at heddi a dyma flas o'r rhaglen I chi. Mae syniadau da ni am anrhegion coginio yn y gegin dy Lisa, pethau rwydd a rhad I ni wneud.
Fe gewn ni hanes prosiect cymunedol I adfer gardd rosod yn Llanelli.
Mae digon o syniadau am anrhegion harddwch gyda Marion ar ein cyfer ni, pob un o Gymru.
Yn hythrawes ffitrwydd ni heddi yw Amanda.
Dim ond cader sydd angen yn chi heddi ar gyfer ein eitem cadw heini yn y lolfa. Newch yn siŵr bod chi'n barod, welai chi wap.
Ar y swch, dyn ni'n 2 tan 2 felly. Croeso I pnawn da.
Ond I ni'n dechrau gyda'n colofnydd ni, a mae'n lyflu gweld y Melanie Owen gyda ni unwaith eto. Neis I dy weld I.
O, diolch yn fawr iawn.
Nawr te, mae rhaid I ni ddechrau wrth gwrs gyda'r stori sy'n llenwi y papurau a'r newyddion I gyd ar hyn o bryd, yr amrywiolyn newydd yma, achos I lot o broblem yn dywe.
Ydy, mae o. Dydy hwn ddim yn newyddio, mae unrhyw wedi eisiau clywed yw e'n amlwg. Ond mae yna amrywiolyn newydd i'w gael. Mae yna 9 o achosion yn y Deyrnas Unedig hyd at hyn. Yn wreiddiol dath hwn o De Affrica. Mae De Affrica nawr ar y restr goch o lefydd gallen ni ddim teithio iddo. Ddim yn gallu teithio iddyn nhw, ond mae rhaid I ni praw, mae rhaid I ni ysu pan I dod nôl. Mae Llywodraeth really ddim eisiau I ni fynd. Mae yna 9 o wledydd eraill ar y restr. Mae'r 9 o wledydd yna hefyd yn Affrica. Dwi'n siŵr bod chi wedi clywed bod yna 2 clwb rygbi o Gymru.
Ie, Llanelli a Gaerdydd.
Ie, wrth gwrs, mae Llanelli, y Scarlett, maen nhw ar hyn o bryd yn ynysu yn Iwerddon, ac mae Caerdydd allan yn De Affrica. Doedden nhw ddim yn gallu dychwelyd I Ewrop achos mae yna achosion tu mewn y tîm.
Ie, o'n i'n croesi'n busedd, fydden nhw'n gallu dod nôl cyn bo hir yn dyfan. O leia, mae y Scarlett nôl yn Ewrop. So beth,
Hwna'n beth da,
ydyn, ie.
Nawr te, fi siw fydd yna'n stori fydd yna datblygu bob awr byddwn ni'n meddwl, ond beth bynnag. Symudwn ni mlaen de, I'm a celeb. Mae newidiadau wedi bod.
Yn union, felly dwi'n siŵr bod pawb wedi clywed ni bod yn storm arwen dros y penwythnos. Mae storm arwen wedi achosi dychryneb yn Castell Gwyrch, a mae hwnna wedi rhoi bygythiad bod y raglen I'm a celeb mynd I falle gorffen gyd am y flwyddyn. Ond dyn ni ddim yn gwybod to, maen nhw jyst yn dweud bod nhw wedi rhacso y set ac yn y blaen. Mae llwyth o lefydd yng Nghymru wedi cael ei rhacso hefyd. Dwi o Aberystwyth, dwi'n gwybod bod na wedi bod broblemau fyna, mae wedi bod eira, gwyntoedd enfawr, felly jyst beth wedi croesi fydd y gyfres yn gallu dal ymlaen I fynd.
Ie, ond y broblem mwy neu lai, wel ddim y broblem yw, ond achos bod nhw wedi goffo gadael y bybl yn dyfe, maen nhw'n goffo dyn nhw'n mynd I siw bod pob un yn saff fyd.
Na'r peth, achos gwelwn ni bod Richard Madeley wedi gorfod gadael y sioe yn gyfan gwbl achos gorfod I fe fynd I ysbyty am un peth, a bod oedd e bod yn teimlo'n hollol ffain, ond achos bod e wedi bod allan o'r bybl, y bygythiad I pe bai fe'n dod nhw mewn, fysa fe yn rhoi Covid I bawb arall. Felly mae yna sawl cwestiwn dros hynny.
Mae'n ddiddorol wrth gwrs, mae Castell Gwrych wedi sefyll trwy'r storm I gyd yn gadar. Mae'r castell yn iawn.
Mae'r castell yn ffain just y set.
Mae'r set I gyd, a lle mae'r crew I gyd, a'r camerau, dyna lle
Dwi'n meddwl faint mor hir mae'r castell na wedi bod yn sefyll trwy bob dim. Mae un set wedi bod lan am cwbl o fisoedd lawr.
Reit, stori sy'n codi tipyn o ofid a dweud y gwir yn y Sunday Times. Yn sôn bod rai ysgolion bach yn gorfod cau achos bod rieni yn danfon I plant dros Glawdd Offa I Loegr mwyn osgoi gorfod dysgu Cymraeg.
Ie, felly mae yna sawl ysgol bach yng Nghymru yn does. Fi es i un categori a lle yna 19 o ddisgyblion. Ond hyd y bygythiad yna o gael ei gau os o gormod o ddisgyblion yn gadael. Ar y ffin o Gymru i Lloegr, mae'r erthygl yma'n dweud bod na teuluoedd sydd yn danfon i blant nhw i ysgolion yn Lloegr, a mae hwnna'n bygythiad i'r ysgolion bach Cymraeg yma. Be maen nhw'n meddwl yw'r reswm yw achos bod y teuluoedd yma ddim eisiau blant nhw cael ei ddysgu trwy gyfrwng y Gymraeg. Dydw i'm yn gwybod, dwi'n gwybod sut maen nhw'n gwybod hyn, mae hwnna'n torri calon fi i fod yn onest, ond dwi'n credu bod e'n werth siarad i'r teuluoedd yma, ffeindio allan beth yw'r rheswm go iawn. Os mae dyma yw'r rheswm, dwi'n siŵr bod yna balans i'w gael hefyd, ond mae lawer iawn o pentrefi bach ar y ffin rhwng Cymru a'r Mwythig yn does, a maen nhw'n dweud mae dyna lle mae'r ddisgyblion tueddol o fynd.
Ie. Mi eisiau sylweddoli, mae dysgu'r Gymraeg yn iaith arall iddyn nhw, mae'n bwysig yn dywe.
Ffantastig i wneud, ddim yn rhywbeth negatif, yw e?
Ddim o gwbl, nag yw.
Nawr te, ni yn teithio dros yr Iwerydd nawr i Ganada.
Ie, yn Canada maen nhw wedi bod yn allforio 22,000 o dynelli o syrup maple, ac maen nhw wedi bod wedi bod boom o pobi ac coginio cartre, wrth gwrs gyda amser dolyg nawr, mae pawb eisiau gwneud pethau melys yn dydyn, a maen nhw wedi dweud bod nhw wedi cael harfest eitha drwg, so nhw wedi bod yn stockpilio y syrup yma, a nawr maen nhw wedi allforio fe i gyd, i ni gyd cael mwynhau e.
Fi'n gwybod mae hwnna'n neis, mae'n stori neis hefyd, dangos bod mwy a mwy o bobl yn coginio gartre, a mae hwnna'n codi calon rhywun yn diwedd.
Yn y cyfnod clo, fi, gan cynnwys fi, pawb yn gwneud banana breads yn doen. Pawb yn gwneud banana bread, a mae rhai bobl yn defnyddio maple syrup yn lle syrup aur yn dyn nhw, lle bod y bach mwy iachus, dyna beth chi weithio eich hunain yn dydi, ond mae hwn lot mwy iachus pan chi'n tolli fe mewn. Ond mae fe'n rhywbeth really dda i Canada, bod nhw wedi gallu orfforio gymaint o hynny i'r byd cael mwynhau o.
Un rhan o'r erthygl fedodd ochr ddifrifol yw falle bydd cynnesu byd eang yn effeithio ar cynhyrchiad maple syrup yn y dyfodol?
Wel, na'r peth, dwi'n credu bod newid hinsawdd yn achosi gymaint o cynhyrchiad bwyd yn dydi, ond gallwn ni jyst mwynhau tra bod ni gyda fe ar hyn o bryd.
Ie, mae teulu dyn ni yn Canada. Bob tro maen nhw'n dod gartre, maen nhw'n dod a maple syrup.
O, ydyn nhw.
Mae stoc dyn ni'n tu ni'n, o reit.
Wel, efi dewi Jan.
Dyna lle ni dod, os ni'n rhedeg allan nawr, ydw fe?
Tu ni. Ac i gloi, stori yn yr Independent, mae hon yn stori fe chyfryd, yn diwe, am y morlwr arbennig yma.
Ie, felly Llew Môr wedi bod yn just achosi trafferth yng nghanol dinas Lincoln yn Oregon, a mae yna fideo, mae fe'n lyflu, mae'n cynhesu'r calon. Mae yna wedi bod torf o bobl yn cymeradwyo wrth i'r heddlu, heb brynga fe nôl i'r môr, ond mae fe yn ddoniol gweld y fath o beth yma wedi bod yn neud yng nghanol y ddinas, just crwydro mewn i siopec yn y blaen. Fi ddim yn rili gwybod pam nath y crwydro mor bell o'i gartre fo, ond mae fe nôl yn y môr Pacific nawr, lle dylse fod.
O ie, fe'n neud i siopa dolyg falle.
Yn union. Mynd mewn yn gynnar nawr cyn i'r torfeidd dod.
Mae nôl yn saff, na'r peth bwysig, efe?
Na, fe'n ddiogel. A mae fe'n lyflu gweld, faint o bobl oedd eisiau iddo fe, mynd nôl i'w cartre fe yn ddiogel, oedd llwyth o heddlu na. Yn y fideo weles i, ond bron tua 60 o heddlu, achos o'n i'n cael esgort lawr y rhewl. Sawl person gall dweud bod nhw wedi cael esgort lawr y rhewl, ynddo fe?
Chwarae ti. Mae'n neis bod yn ôl yn saff, wedi.
Beth i godi calon.
Melanie, diolch yn fawr i ti.
Diolch yn fawr iawn.
Diolch. Nawr te, buon ni'n sôn fyna, nath Melanie wei bod hi wedi cael ei effeithio gan storm arwen, a halodd ni feddwl yn dyfe, bob blwyddyn mae'r swyddfa dywydd yn cyhoeddi enwau ar gyfer stormydd. Fi oedd Katrina, Dennis, Callum, llwyth o'n nhw.
So ni wedi cael storm Sian a storm Dafydd eto, dyn ni. Falle bod ni ddim digon stormus eto, ti'n gweld?
Ddim to, falle dawn amser.
Ond ni yn gwybod ymlaen llaw, wrth gwrs, beth yw enwau'r stormydd. Felly, ym mis Medi, oeddwn ni'n gwybod taw enw'r storm nesaf fydde Arwen.
Do, a bryd ni, wnaethon ni drial ffindo Arwen, a daethon ni o hyd un yn Nolgelle. Mae di tŵad y glaw ar fy mhen.
Swn i licio meddwl, fysa'n heulu na'n ffrindiau'n meddwl bod fi'n storm o berson, ond swn i'n feddwl bysan nhw'n anffodus. Nôl yn 1996 ar Tachwedd yr 19, oedd hi'n bwrw eira'r diwrnod ges i'n ngeni. A gan bod dat yn dreifio'r gritters o'r council, gath o bach o draffedd o fyny ngweld i'r o fi gael yng ngeni. A dyna pam ges i'n ngeni'n ar wen, achos bod hi'n wyn dan traed y diwrnod yna. Ar ôl clywed y newyddion bore yma, o'n i reit sioc i ddweud gwir bod yna storm wedi cael ei enwi ar ôl yn enw I, lle. Achos mae'n enw... Diolch yn gyfarwydd iawn, ac diolch ond yn cael ei adnabod drilio'r Lord of the Rings. Wel, dwi'n gobeithio pan ddaw storm arwen, bydd o ddim yn creu gormod o drafferth I chi, a fydd o'n dawel a ddi-ffys, just fel mina.
Wel, Arwen, mi nath storm Arwen, achos I dipyn o drafferth yn do.
Do.
Do, ond fe, mae di mynd nawr.
Mae di mynd, ydi. Nawr te, na'r cwbl wrthyn ni am nawr, ond diolch nôl atyn ni wedi'r egwyl. Pan fyddwn ni roi syniadau chi am anrhegion yn y gegin gyda Lisa.
Ac fe gewn ni hanes prosiect cymunedol blodeuog iawn yn Llanelli. Cewch chi'r hanes I gyd mewn o 2 funud fach.
Croeso cynnes nôl I chi. Nawr te ni'n y gegin gyda Lisa. Siwti, Lisa?
Iawn, diolch yn fawr.
Gret, nawr te, ni wedi sôn sawl gwaith yn barod Nadolig ar y ffordd, ond mae bwyd wastad yn anreg bach neis I gael, yn dwi?
Ond ti, a ti'n meddwl beth, mae rhywbeth chi'n gallu neud
i'r pobl henach, plant i wneud iddi mewn gys falle, tad cys, ond hefyd, mae'n rhywbeth gael pobl sy'n ag amser, falle sydd wedi ymddeol, i wneud ar gyfer yr teulu sy'n fwy ifanc. Enghraifft, y granola yma, mae pawb yn hoffi granola, chi doi'n prynu granola.
Odi, ni'n licio granola.
A mae hwn yn rhywbeth, dych chi'n meddwl, os chi'n gweithio pob dydd, dych chi'n meddwl wneud granola, achos mae'n mor rhad i brynu, ond mae fe mor ffein amser chi'n neud un yn hynna. A mae'n gallu edrych yn bert mewn pacyn bach posh fel yna.
Ie, ddewn ni at y pecyn yn y man. Granola i ddechrau.
A mae'n ddigon rhad i wneud, a gallu fe mor rhad â chi moyn. Just ceirch sydd dy fi fan hyn, y porridge oats. Dy fi rhyw 3 neu 4 llond cwpaned o'r hynny. A miwn at hynna wedyn, dwi'n mynd i ychwanegu, mae eisiau braster a mae eisiau melustra. Na beth sy'n rhaid cofio. A mae eisiau blas. So i gael y blas, ni'n mynd i ychwanegu yr almonau yma. Ond fel chi'n gallu gweld, mae gyda fi yr walnuts fan hyn, mae gyda fi hadau, yr bwmpen fyna, pecans, mae amrywiaeth o gnau, sy'n ots pa rhai chi'n dod i mewn. Ond fi'n mynd i ddod i'r almonau yma. A mae hynna yn weddol rhad. Pidwch a defnyddio yr rhai sy'n yn ffein iawn, fel blawd. Defnyddiwch rhai sy'n a bach o...
Ti'n moyn bach o grunch?
Ie, tamed o grunch. A na gyd, mater o gyfuno'r cyfan yn dda yw e. Felly ddodwn ni chydig o'r hadau yma mewn pam lai. A wedyn, ni'n mynd i rhoi bach o space. So gan bod hi'n nadolig, ni'n mynd i fynd am sinsir. So rhyw gorder llwyed bach o sinsir, ond os chi'n really hoff o sinsir, gallwch chi ddod i mwy. A wedyn bach o cinnamon. Gallwch chi ddefnyddio space cymysg, ond mae cinnamon gyda fi fan hyn, felly mewn â hwnna. A mae werth troi yr cynhwysion sych gyntaf, fel bod nhw yn cymysgu'n dda cyn ychwanegu yr pethach glib, oherwydd maen nhw'n glynio'n i gilydd wedyn, a dwi ddim mor rhwydd i droi'r cyfan gyda'i gilydd.
A mae'n fantes, wrth gwrs, pan ti'n neud unan, allai ti roi pethau mewn i ti'n lico?
Yn gwmws. So mae gyda fi yr syrup maple fan hyn.
Ti wedi cael maple syrup o rwle, de?
Yn anffodus yw hwn ddim yn dod o Canada. So mae eisiau cyfuniad o tua hanner, wel, cyfanswm o hanner cwpaned. So fi'n mynd i ddefnyddio bach o'r maple fanna. A fan hyn wedyn, mae gyda fi just mel cyffredin. So os oes mel dych chi, neu potyn bach chi moyn defnyddio lan, llwch chi wneud cyfuniad o'r mel a yr maple. A wedyn, fan hyn, chi'n gallu defnyddio olew o lewydd, ond fi'n mynd i ddefnyddio yr coconut oil yma. So tua hanner cwpaned. So os gyda fi mesur, mesur bach gyda fi, newn ni allwys ymwyn i fyna gynta. So tua hanner cwpaned. A mae hwn wedyn yn helpu wrth gwrs i'r cyfan i lynu yn ei gilydd. So troi hwn tan bod y cyfan nawr wedi i orchuddio.
Sai beth ti'n neud granola fi os yn pyrnu fe, ond peth da beth ti'n neud i'w gytre yw... Mae nhw fel arfer da lot o siwgr yn dyn nhw pan ti'n prynu nhw o siop. Fel un o'r ti'n gallu'r dewis y dethol faint ti'n moyn rhoi mewn yn dy fe.
Yn gwmws, ti'n gwybod yn gwmws beth sydd yn hwn. Felly mae eisiau treu fach arno ni nawr i'n gwastad a bach o parchment yma. Fel chi'n ti gweld, yw hwn ddim yn mynd i
cadw hwnna mas.
Sgryntion e lan, a wedyn i ddod i fe mas. A mae'n gwrando fe bach yn well. A wedyn, dod i hwn, llwch chi ddefnyddio, just dod i bar y trei, heb yr papur, ond wrth gwrs mae tipyn fwy o olchi lan gyda chi wedyn. So dod i hwnna fel yna, a wedyn i wasgaru fe mas. Os chi moyn nawr cael bach o crunch, a mae'r crunch yn ffurfio wrth i'r rhain i gwcan. Mae fel creu bisgedi i fod yn onest. So dyna hwnna wedi wneud. Sylwch, dwi ddim wedi dod i'r ffrwythau mewn to. Mae ffrwythau llawn siwgr, a mae hwnna'n tueddol o losgi ynghynt na'r cnau. Felly mae hwnna mewn, a mae'n gyda ni fan hyn, fi wedi dechrau'n barod. So mae hwn ar ôl rhyw 10 munud fan hyn. Pa mor dwy mae?
Pa mor dwy mae'r ffwrdd i ti?
180. So ar ôl 10 munud, byddwch chi'n ffindo bod y top wedi creu rhyw fath o crunch bach iddo fe fel yna. Wedyn, jyst mater o symud o gwmpas, fel bod y cyfan yn coginio yn gyfartal. A wedyn ychwanegu unrhyw ffrwythau, felly gallwch chi ddod i beth cwrens neu raisins, os ydych chi'n hoffi nhw, neu brigyll, neu lligeiron wedi sychu.
Amser yma'r flwyddyn, wrth gwrs.
Ie, goji berries. Mae amrywiaeth o bethach gallwch chi ddod i. Just dod i'r unna trwyddo, a just symud nhw o gwmpas, fel bod y blas a'r cyfan yn gyfartal fel yna. A mae hwnna wedyn yn mynd nôl i'r ffwrn am 10 munud bach arall. Nawr ar ôl y 10 munud, a dyma fe, mae hwn wedi oeri, dyna sy'n hwn mas tymed bach yn hynt. So mae hwnna nawr, chi'n gweld fel mynd ymlaen yn un pisyn, just mater o dorri hwnna lan. Mae rhai lico fe'n fwy llib na'i gilydd, fi lico fe'n eitha chunky fel yna. A beth dwi wedi wneud, sy'n gyda chi fyna, mewn gwydryn bach, a os gwydryn sbar dy fi na, ddys i'n masain, fi'n dod i tymed o'r granola, tymed o iogwrt, A sim eisiau melysu fe, achos mae cymaint o felystra yn yr... Mae hwnna eitha melys, ddwch chi'n blasu mewn munud falle. A hefyd, beth sydd gyda fi fan hyn, yw compot ffrwythau. So, unrhyw ffrwythau, fale, mefus, mafon, beth sydd gyda chi, gyda bach o siwgr a tamed llia o ddŵr yn y gwylod, tan bod e jyst yn berwi, a mae hwnna wedyn yn mynd yn gret gyda fe ac yn bert ar gyfer y Nadolig.
Mae hwnna'n felys, heb bod rhy felys.
Odi.
Si tri llwio da hwnna, mae hwnna'n fen.
Fein. So mae hwnna, mae'n frecwas iachus falle ar gyfer bore Nadolig, a beth dwi wedi gwneud yn y pacin fyna, mae'n syniad syml, just prynu le fi wedi dod i fe, mae'n rhywle. Chi'n gallu prynu just y cellophane, le ni. Mae fel clingfilm, ond dwi ddim, chymod, mae just cellophane fel yna i we. Just rapo potyn, gyda bach o selotip, tynnu'r potyn mas, a wedyn mae gyda chi fag fach perffaith ar gyfer gweini, wel, neu gweini, neu anrheg, fel chi'n gallu gweld fyna, o'r granola ar gyfer y Nadolig.
Ffantastig.
Lyfli.
Reit, diolch ti Lisa, mwy o syniadau dyn ni nes ymlaen de. Reit te. Stori gymunedol sydd da ni i chi nesaf, achos chydig yn ôl nath grŵp fan hyn yn Llanelli gysylltu â ni i ddweud bod nhw yn adfer hen ardd rosod i'r gymuned.
Ie, mae'r pwyllgor wedi sefydlu ar gwaith caib a raw i glirio'r lle wedi hen ddechrau, felly yn ddiweddar, eithon ni draw i gael pupur y lle.
Wel, mae'n hen ardd. Mae wedi bod yn blynydde mawr a wedi bod yn bert, rhagorol y bert. Ond dros blynyddoedd mae popeth wedi cael ei adael i fynd. Mae mor druenus i weld yr rhosys wedi mynd, mae'r slabs ar y wal wedi mynd. Ond bob gwanwyn mae'r coed lan ar y ochr fyna, maen nhw'n bert ofnadw. A mae'n neis iawn i